Hello, folks. Alright, it's been a while since I've streamed from this computer. Let's see how badly I break it. First off, I have no idea if anybody can hear me. Second thing we gotta solve is, can anyone hear sound coming out of my computer? So let's try that. Let me see here. Let's find something we won't get copyright striked over. Who do we have a sub to we can click on? Let's watch a little bit of... Wait, I can just watch one of my own videos. Let's do that. That's nice and safe. YouTube Studio. And videos. News.
Hey guys, kinggath here with some mod news.
Okay, well that's coming over my speakers, so of course you guys are going to hear that. Let's put it on my headphones. Try this. News. Today we've got lots of city plan news and a rare return. Can you guys hear podcast coming up? Me talking over myself? But of course. Oh man, that's awkward. I heard about the thing where if you play somebody's own audio back to them slightly delayed, it makes their speech all weird because you're used to hearing yourself, so when it gets delayed it messes you up. Hello, folks. Yogi, hello. You guys can hear my PC, but no PC sound. ETD on when the next SS2 update comes out tomorrow. The next update is ready for tomorrow. It's actually already available on our forums as a public, a public beta. Though at this point, might as well wait. I'll put it out tomorrow morning. Loud and clear. Thank you, Vesely. Sound is good. Cool. All right. Awesome. All right. So today we're going to work on HQ 3.0. I made a bunch of progress yesterday, and I don't want to stop. So, and my schedule has gotten crazy busy since late last year. Turns out running multiple businesses, a family, and a mod team is difficult. It's a lot of work. All right, so let's see here. Oh, hey, Baron. Some debugging or me breaking your code. Unless this is not my Baron that I'm talking to. This is a different Baron. I don't know. Let's see here. So the way that this is going to be super dry. It's going to be a lot of actual code and me showing you guys some under the stuff under the hood. So think of this like a Twitch developer stream. Not going to be a whole lot of gameplay. Going to be more just trying to get stuff working the way I want. So the primary goal of 3.0 is automation. We want to have it so that by default, or maybe not default, some of these things we'll figure out as we go. So it'll be like a lot of it comes up in playtesting, and like I've got some of it working, and as we get more of it working and I hand it off to the testers, they'll give me feedback on like what stuff feels natural, what stuff feels like, oh, I don't like that it did that on its own, and then we kind of tinker. It is the same Baron. Okay, awesome. I don't remember your number at the end there. So what we want to do is make it so that you can basically assign your department head to just run the department for you, and then there will be a series of projects that they can just do without you. So in my head, the way this is going to work, and I have a rough. You want to make HQ not so buggy? I mean, that's a tall order. We built this thing on a house of sand that is Fallout 4, which does not like us doing crazy things like converting the settlement system into a faction management system. So there will always probably be some oddities to it, but we are going to try and automate it. So basically you give the department control, and then they will just start using the energy that they have every day to just do things. So in my head, what it'll be something like once a day, the cycle will run and look at however much department energy is unused, and it'll just use it for arbitrary projects. So there's a couple of ways I envision this going. One will be predetermined HQ plans in a sense. So it'll be kind of like city plans. So let me show you what I have in mind. So I already set up like some little quick demo ones. And these are really simple to make. Is it? Oh, it's going to be in chapter 2. So I actually have to have 3 plugins open because to keep our department thing separate. Here we go. So like there'll be basically one for each department. So we've got our 7 departments, and it'll basically just be this form list of projects, and they will try, the department will try and do them in order as best it can. So occasionally some require each other. So for example, I have on here clean room, bathroom, lower men's. Then it's going to assign a room configuration. That's the thing in game you guys do where it says, what do you want this room to be used for? Then next, after it's done cleaning the room and assigning room config, it's going to try and build this particular thing there. And then the next pattern goes. Then it'll do the next to the next bathroom. And we can just add infinite actions here into this list, and it'll just try and do them all. And the nice thing about this is it'll be very easy for somebody else to open up the CK and make their own alternate plan. Like it doesn't require any in-game mess. You don't have to mess with anything. The downside of this is like sometimes we were not consistent with the naming scheme. So I will want to have some sort of in-game mechanism to design a plan, like pick the order, because this, while easy for me to decipher, for anybody else, this is probably not fun to figure out what the heck all these forms are called and what they mean. But this will work for my prototype phase, so that's what we're doing with it. And then some other ideas I have around this are there will be multiple of these plans available. So there will be one default that just gets assigned. Then there will be a secondary list that the player can build things in game. Let me hop in game. It might help if I can like talk you guys through my ideas with stuff in front of me. And I can actually show you guys one of them right now. Shazara, hello. Hope chat. Let's see. Kinggath in chat. Hope everything is doing well. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm excited about getting to work on this. All right, automated build test. Here we go. All right, so I think it'll help to talk through this stuff, these ideas, if I've got the thing in front of me, so I can show you guys what I'm thinking. And now I've got that little thing I just showed you where it'll automatically go through that form list and do all those projects. That works now. I have that in with an alpha build of the mod. That this will actually work. So I could, if I wanted to, I could go fill up that form list and run it, and just set a loop to run it, and it would just build out all of those projects, which is kind of the dream there. But a couple things I want to change about it. First off, right now it uses the same settings you have as the player. So we changed it back at the 2.0 update so that by default everybody is on, actually that might have been at launch, I don't remember, but we have it on where everything happens in kind of real time. So it takes like, 30 seconds to clean a room or build a room. And while it's nice for not having to wait and making it more along the timeline of like a plot building, the downside is then it makes it feel pointless, right? Because then it's just like, well, now you just made me click through all those menus for the cleaning. Like, why do I have to go through all that? It's just, that's one of the backfiring of, made it too short. So there's a lot of changes for 3.0. Like that's one of the things I'm going to change, is like, I think it is a little too fast right now. I need to do something about that. But what I'm thinking for when the departments run themselves is it will switch back to the default state, the previous default state, which is based on time, on like days times. So if we were to open up one of these, so if we could clean up here, so you can say completion time 1 day. So that was intended to be, that was the default originally. And then now there's this setting, if you go into either MCM or the holotape, that makes it run more like plots, where plots are kind of real snappy to turn around. So if we go into gameplay, go down to HQ. Here we go. So we have the override timers on by default for, I think maybe not survive. If you're on survival by default, like if you're playing with the hardcore settings in SS2, this might be off by default. I don't remember. But basically for when the department runs themselves, it would just ignore that setting. And then I can add a second setting that's like allow automated system to override timers. Because you guys know I like to just give you as many options as you want. You can customize the gameplay however you want. But I want the defaults, which is what the vast majority of players will use, because most people don't want to dig into that gigantic pile of options. Is too much for most people. So I want it the default to feel good. So I figure if the department is using the day timers, then it won't go too crazy, and it'll just kind of build up as you're playing. You won't have to spend, you can just go out and quest, go do vanilla quests, do other mod quests, do our quests, come back, and a bunch more of HQ will be moved forward. And then so then your biggest contribution would be just sending extra people that you recruit out in the world. So then you just, as you're wandering around doing questing, you run into a new settler, or you head to a settlement, see it's got a little bit of surplus people, send them to HQ. Now the next time the daily cycle runs, it'll have more department energy, because the more people in a department, the more it can run. So some of the tools that we'll need to make this worthwhile, we'll need obviously the ability to set a department on or off on automation. So that'll be some new sort of feature, whether it be you just do it through the desks or a dialogue option or something. We'll figure that out. So toggle. I'm actually writing notes of this while I have these written somewhere, but just while we're talking about it on this little side document, I have this like messy little notepad thing I'm using here, which is just to keep myself focused for today. So some sort of toggle option for automation. We need some sort of selection mechanism for which automation plan to use. And these will be a lot like city plans or building plans, where the player has the option to set up different ones. So this will especially be, it won't matter a ton in the short term, because there's not that many HQ projects, especially for construction and cleaning. It's just kind of like for most rooms, there's one option. And then the real benefit to alternate plans early on would just be doing things in a different order, so you could get things a little quicker. But the long game would be, once there's more HQ add-ons out there, which I'm positive there will be over time, either because we give out new tools to make it easier, or just more people get interested in it after we make HQ itself more enjoyable, then the more plans could involve building it in a different way. So we need some sort of selection method for that. Now, another little thing I want to have on here is the ability for the player to like switch modes. So like right now, the default, you go into command mode, right? And you're triggering these projects. What I want to do is have like a thing where it's like you go into command mode and you choose one option here, like maybe an option next to HQ here, and it's like go to queue mode. And basically what that would do is whatever you build, instead of it actually building the thing, it would have like a free version. So I would need to create like an extra COBJ for every project. And it's all done with script, so it's not that big a deal. And that would just add it to the automation queue ahead of whatever the NPCs have in their plan. So that way it's basically like the player is like, hey, you know what, for your next round of projects, I want you to do these instead. And you can just add them to that queue. And that way you wouldn't have to worry about micromanaging the resources, or do you have enough? You're just like, you know what, I want you guys to build this, 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 and this. And as long as they have the resources available, they'll do it. And if they can't, they'll just skip it. And that way you could kind of have like an indirect guiding hand without, again, having to spend any time thinking about the resources, so you can just focus on the rest of the game. So that's another element of this I want to add. And then the last element to the thing that I want to do is non-planned automation. So we have the plan automation, where you can give them a form list of like, here's the projects to do in an order that's sensible. But then there are going to be some things that aren't in a plan, and give them the ability to find those and do those if they make sense to do. And that's the hard part. A lot of this kind of stuff, the reasons that we didn't ship with this, is because this kind of stuff is like, we basically need to make, I'm going to use the term AI, not in the way it's used modern, which is like generative AI of generating new content, but more like old school, like game enemy AI. Like we need to teach a system how to play HQ and do it somewhat optimally. And that's very complicated, especially when we only have Papyrus to work with. So even if I can create some sort of like dynamic thing, it's going to be kind of dumb, just because a complex AI just wouldn't be very efficient in Papyrus. So that's kind of where I'm thinking. But I think even just the baseline, having the first two ideas of allow departments to run a plan and give the player the ability to like queue up things that would either become the new plan, or that would like usurp the existing plan, like that would be enough to make HQ considerably more enjoyable. Then there's secondary things we're going to do, like cut the prices on everything in half, just to make the whole thing less grindy. Just like there's just going to be some broad sweeping things that I changed with this update, just to make it more appealing. But at the core, it's going to be the 3.0 update is adding this automation system, so that HQ is in line with every other system in SS2. Like pretty much everything else in SS2, whether it be plots, city plans, even calling your soldiers over, recruiting soldiers, like all these systems are automated by default, and HQ is not. HQ, like every little thing you have to do by hand, which goes against kind of the design philosophy of the mod, which is like let players focus on the parts that are interesting to them. All right, let me catch up with questions here. Pardon me. Lastly, hey Kinggath, are you planning to have the HQ automation to scale with the game difficulty on easy, normal, partial with hardcore, and often survival? Probably. It'll probably be like the options that are on. But that's the thing, is that we can also do it, in a sense, the automation doesn't really have to be a difficulty thing, because the automation can still use the base rules, right? So if you have all the rules turned on, so like let's say you have the daily limiters on here. I'll go into the options. We can talk about them. So in a sense, even with automation, basically it's just saving you the step of having to go run the projects. It still is going to, by default, the system is still going to make use of all these rules. So just naturally, the difficulty mode you're playing on will impact that. So like these things, so like the daily spending limitations, the override timers, like I said, I think of that one I want to separate. I think the automation needs a different setting for that, and it should be off for everybody by default. I think the automated system should take a little longer naturally. Let's see, the supply agreement thing, like all of these things would still be in place. So for example, if all of them were on, and you're playing in the hardcore mode with all of them on, and you're using automation, like the departments still have to follow the rules, right? So they still need to have enough workforce. They still need to have enough HQ rooms to allow them to build the more advanced rooms. They still need to have enough resources to pay for room construction. They're still going to need enough supply agreements to get access to those resources. Settlements will still need leaders. So there's still a lot. And this is where it gets into that complication of like, I have to create kind of rudimentary AI and teach it how to play the mod, because there's so many complexities to that. So right now for prototyping, I'm shortcutting it, and I'm just telling it what to do in order. And then if we want it to be dynamic, I think that's almost an HQ 4.0 thing, to give it full, basic logic paths to follow. But we'll see. It's going to depend on like how far can I get it with this like basic idea, and how does it feel, and then we can fill in the blanks later with more stuff. I do really want to have some sort of automation. I'm uncertain of how far I can take it within a reasonable amount of time, and like what the engine can even handle. So another element to this, that there's a couple of more elements I want to deal with HQ 3.0. One is recruitment. I want to give the admin department the ability to just recruit new people, like not just steal people from your settlements, because the downside of that is then if your settlements were carefully balanced, you have to temporarily break that balance to feed HQ, and it would just make more sense if HQ could just give them a new project that's like recruitment drive or job fair or something like that, and just let them recruit new people, and then that could be something admin does automatically. Another aspect, kind of in a similar vein, is if for the automation to be more valuable, one of the primary drivers that's going to determine how many projects they can run automatically is how much energy the department has. So it would be nice if when you recruit someone, instead of them just going into facilities, which is what happens now, is if you got like a follow-up pop-up that asks you which department you wanted to send them in. Or we could just automatically send them to the department that best matched their stats, one of the two, or both. Or maybe an option for the player, so that that way, again, keep the player out in the field longer. That way when they come back to HQ, the changes are more dramatic. The amount of projects that ran are more dramatic, and it'll feel better. Let's put that in my notes too. Means to assign department upon recruitment. You random idea while you're talking kinggath, auto-assign new HQ workers to optimal department. Yep, there we go. Just what we were talking about. Yeah, I think that would be, just doing it on stats, even that would help a lot, but giving them follow up the player of being able to turn on an option that says, let me just pick the department. It's just 7 options. It's not a big deal. Sam, what about training HQ personnel to increase their special tasks past the normal limit? So we have a pseudo training system. So one of the design patterns when we were fleshing out HQ, like taking it beyond just code to like, all right, how do we manifest this? One of the rules we had was HQ cannot provide any service directly or replace any mechanic for settlements. So settlements already have stat training. So we came up with a kind of a workaround, which is where are those? Do I not know? Oh, I don't have access to them because I don't have a training room. It's the cross-training system. And what cross-training does is it makes it so that secondary stats for a department can also impact that department's energy. So facilities default is strength. I can't remember what their cross-training is. Is there cross-training perception? They see more dirt? Something like that. But anyway, you cross-train with one other stat, and it makes it so that that department can use some of their stat to enhance the energy. So if you have, a guy with 9 strength and 1 perception, he'll give you 9 energy to facilities. If you give him cross-training to perception, he'll go up to now he's providing 10 energy facilities. Now let's say instead he had like 5 perception. Well, if you cross-train him 5 times in perception, then all 5 of his perception can also add energy to facilities. So it's a way you can kind of not directly just train their stats, but still increase their overall impact on HQ. And ideally, that will be, we're talking about automation and this idea of like, this happens, then this happens, and this happens, and this happens. That's great for one-time projects, for like cleaning projects or building projects. But I also anticipate for the automation looping projects. It'll be like, all right, when you're not doing anything else, try and run one of these X projects. So like every project will have a flag on it that it's like safe to automate, because some of them won't make any sense to automate. Like we don't want to automate the security team going around and capturing settlements. Like that's not ideal to automate. That has too big an impact on the world, and it's something the player should like directly do. But there's other smaller things, like those trainings. It's all upside, so like there's no real reason not to do it. So like we'll go through each project and make a determination of whether it makes sense to automate it or not. Oscar 5, I've been playing too much FO4SS2 and COD because I just woke up from a nap where Jake aided me. We're on CH1Q11 pinned by the gunners. I fired him at a man flare for help. That's an exciting dream. I would have preferred that dream. I had a dream a bear ate one of my kids last night. That was no good. I don't think I've ever seen a bear in real life outside of a zoo, but that was my dream. And man, was it terrifying. Captain Price from COD showed up and yelled at me, "On your feet, soldier, we're leaving." Vastly, you could add miscellaneous objective for the player to build a set of rooms that work together. Storage and cafeteria to set up the basics for food storage to make it less hit and miss. Yeah, we could definitely. So there's definitely on my list. That's like a secondary goal of HQ 3.0 is to, let's see if I have it on me. I don't know if I'm far enough in the story in this particular character. I grabbed a random save off of the, no, I don't have it on me. There's the preparing for war holotape that we introduced in chapter 3 that I want to add for HQ. And it will basically have like little micro objectives to tell the player to try something. And they just a way to get quick XP and just kind of point the player to mechanics in HQ they maybe don't know about. But I want to wait until after I've finished kind of the revamping before I introduce that, because we've already had it happen with the preparing for war where a couple of the tutorials don't make sense anymore because of revamps I did in the 3.10 patch. So, excuse me, I want to avoid that happening again. Shadows are, who made those workshop icons? Bunch of people. So it was like I don't know which ones you're talking about in particular, but a lot of the 2D icons, they either came from, we licensed them from Icon Finder. Some of them were made by Cynical. I think a couple of them were actually made, were actually base game that I took out. Like I think this one is just the Brahmin symbol and I added some arrows to it. Some of the, like these two, I think came from the base game HUD, and then Nathan Hoxie was one of our 3D artists, and he turned them into these little triangle things. We needed something that like, like again, we're going to the goal, the design goal, since we're using the HQ or the workshop interface, like we needed all of these icons to look substantially different. We didn't want them to be mistaken for settlement icons in any way. So it was like, well, black and white works. That's very, very different. There's nothing like that in base settlement. And then the little triangle idea was just something, because we had no choice but to have the spinning that's like baked into the HUD. So needed something that would work with that. And then these, what are those other icons? Then there's these crazy icons. The, what are they? These things. The ones that represent like the rooms and stuff. These were something that I had hoped would look better than they do. But I mean, I'm very glad that Nathan made them for us. But they're kind of hard to tell what it is. But these were inspired, and like particularly where's it at? If I go to this thing, no, not view active projects, wrong one. I want the view layout. Where's it at? View layout. Here you go. Yeah, sure. Main floor. So this interface for me was inspired by Metroid Prime, because it had these like really cool 3D maps. Now the problem is here is the spinning ruins it. So like if you quickly cycle through, you can kind of get it. You can kind of see where each room is relative to the space. But with the spinning, if you slow down, it's really hard to like get your bearings on where the heck it's pointing at. And because it's done alphabetically instead of like by location. So in theory, this would have been a good HUD element, but in practice, it's fighting with what the base game UI is doing. So, which is unfortunate. So this whole thing, but it still looks cool, even if it's not super practical because it's hard to follow what's going on. But yeah, all those HUD icons were made by Nathan Hoxie, and then the actual 2D icons that inspired them were either ones we purchased, were in the base game, or Cynical made them for us. Sam Jonovic, could next gen potentially help with the bugs of Breakcases 2 and limit how big the mod can be? I mean, it's hard to say. It depends. Like there are certain things that I think are just engine flaws. So some of the issues that we're having with soldiers losing their roles, like that is just like a massive engine flaw. I actually have a workaround for it. It's just gonna be really difficult to code it because I have to go. I had built the whole system under this assumption that this base game system called location ref types worked reliably, and it turns out it does not. So I have to go like dig through all the code and tear apart all the references to that system. So it's like not a small project. So there, but I mean, so far outside of Xbox, I have not. I mean, you guys can go look through my channel. I've been playing the mod on stream almost weeks for the last several years, and we haven't really run into anything game breaking. So there's some issues here and there, but I wouldn't call anything I wouldn't call anything super game breaking. I mean, Xbox players, I think they probably are, but in PC, not so much. Mad Wiz, is this the right place to ask questions about East Empire Expansion 2? Sure, you can ask me questions about those. But yeah, this stream is mostly today is gonna be focused. I rarely ever stream anything related to East Empire. Currently, that might change in the future, but like, most of the audience has been around this channel has been built up around Sim Settlements, so that tends to be most of the content's focused on. But I have no problem answering questions if you want to ping me with them. Bass, is it possible to use the Vans perk to direct player to rooms after select them from layout? Possibly. I've not used Vans much. Let's see if I have perk points. Well, I can add myself a perk. I've not used Vans much. Okay, this character apparently has everything. How do you use that? Is it like... I don't remember how you use that. You just like hold this, right? Because there it is. That's Vans, right? This big green blur. Oops. Oh my god, stop. That's Vans, right? That little crazy green shadow that just appeared for a second. Or was that a bug in the game? That's Vans, right? So yeah, I guess in theory it should... I wish it wasn't so jank. Come on, Vans, show up. Maybe it can't because maybe I'm standing on the objective point. Nope, there it was. It's like sometimes it shows up and sometimes it doesn't. Green line is Vans. There it goes. Why is it so difficult to trigger? The It's like sometimes it goes and there it goes. Where is it leading us to? Oh, that time it didn't want to. I guess I'm not holding the button long enough. So yeah, it looks like it can lead us around HQ. Yep, it's leading us right to there. All right, let's see. So if I run, so right now I had used this in this particular save. I had used the automation already to trigger the cleaning of these rooms. So now if I run it because they're clean, it should trigger the building. So let's try that. I did a batch file for it. HQ auto test. So now we should see it. It can take a little while because HQ is super complex. There's just a metric ton of stuff that has to run under the hood. It's constantly like checking things and double checking things. Oh, there it goes. It started the construction. It has to go through and reevaluate which projects are eligible. A lot of the complexity stemmed from us wanting it to work in, oh, there it goes. You can see it's using the facilities energy and the engineering energy to build the bathroom. If we were to pop into, if we had been in here, we would have seen the resources go down too as it paid for them. But that's okay. So now it's going to do it in real time. So it's going to take like 30, 40 seconds. There goes the door appearing. Watch all that stuff appear. But yeah, it would have taken the resources and gone through and everything. Interesting thing about working on this is, hold on a second. That's a problem with my headphones. There we go. While digging in here, I discovered a bug in the resource management code and fixed that. That's going to squeak into tomorrow's patch. There we go. They finished the project. We should get our energy back in a moment here. Nice and squeaky clean, except for that hole in the wall. That's our peephole. Don't mind that. We like those in our bathrooms. It's positioned tastefully up high. Oh, nope. They got one of those holes too. Okay, well, don't judge the folks here. All right, so now that was the first. So the automation run determined it could do one project with the energy. If we had had more energy, it could have run multiple simultaneously. But if I try and run it again, it should detect now that we have enough energy to run this bathrooms project. We'll see if that's the case. Yep, there it goes, starting the construction. So the idea would be that we would set up the things on a timer. I don't know if we would do it probably every 24 hours, but it might make more sense to do it every 3 or 4 hours or something a little more frequent, just because there will be times when projects happen like offset from each other, or maybe the player sent more people. So there could be a desire to have it happen more often, or maybe I'll do it like in reaction to events. So, if it's not running and some major change happens, like the population changes or a new supply line had been established, that it'll try it again, something like that. I have to figure out how long it takes for these things to run. Like, it's pretty quick to run right now because only one department has a automation set up right now, and the plan list is super short. I actually wonder if, let me think. I'm wondering if that is already accidentally in place, what you guys are talking about with vans. Let's try. So if we go to view layout, select this floor, wait for it to pop up. These are the types of things that I wish I can make faster, like these menus, but we've tried doing caching and whatnot, and it's just there's very little that seems to make it faster. But if I went in here and select, let's see, not the common area room, let's do, sure, facilities head office. So let's buy this, except it should put an objective marker on it. There we go. And then if we hide the other objectives, and then follow our vans line. The vans line, I don't know how to make it work reliably. Like I can hold the button down and it seems to appear sometimes. There it goes. It just doesn't know how to deal with this spiral staircase. So we kind of already have that. If you use View HQ layout, you can select a room and it'll put an objective marker on there so you can find it. Yeah, right now the goal for the 3.0 is sometime in March. I always take my kids to visit their grandparents in March, so I want to get it out before then. So like before spring break. All right, so you guys kind of get my general idea. I think the next thing I want to do is I want to try getting a little more aggressive with how big this plan is and see what happens. Like just start throwing stuff. So one of the problems I haven't resolved yet is I don't like this having to do a room config in here because I think this makes it more complicated for people to make their own. But if I end up creating an in-game mechanism for designing an HQ plan where it would be like record what I'm doing and you just go play through HQ and it just kind of records all the selections you made in the order you do, that would be pretty straightforward and then it wouldn't matter. So I don't love that I have to have these, but it's kind of a necessary evil right now. So let's do... We'll start with clean room because that is one of the things I think most people would love to be able to more quickly skip. So let's just grab everything and see what happens here if I just toss it all in here. Oh, and then another thing I have to factor in, I wonder if it's smart enough to handle, like I don't think I have hanger unlocked. Let's try tossing in a bunch of hanger ones here. Sure, grab all these and make sure that it's smart enough to not, let's put one up at the top, there we go, to not do those if you don't have it unlocked yet. Let's go test that. All right, so grab from my test install, CK slugging, grab this, pop that in there and see what happens here. You have to do it slowly so you can't overspam it. Yeah, and that makes it kind of like pain to use. So not an ideal system. That's it. That was actually something they did pretty good with Starfield with the with their equivalent of vans. It works pretty good. It's easy to toggle on and off. Doesn't feel like a pain. All right. So then in theory, if I run that bat file again, it should try and run the clean hanger thing, and then if all the code's set up correctly, it should not do it. It should be like, this isn't eligible, I'm not going to do that. Because that's the other thing is, I don't want the automation system like bypassing any of the rules unless we explicitly give it permission to do so. So right now, I haven't given it permission to do anything like that. There are some other complications with the automation too that we have to figure out. So, a lot of the projects need information from the player, like like the cleaning, where it's like, what do you want this room to be used for? Or if you had, say you cleaned the whole place, right? And there were 2 rooms of the same shape they're eligible for the same design, and then you trigger the project to build a design, it needs to know where it's supposed to go. And so like right now, my solution is just to randomly give it one of the eligible ones. And I think that's the best we can, like that's the kind of simplistic decision tree or decision making we're talking about for like a rudimentary AI, is like analyzing all the variables that would make the player make the correct decision is a tall order for a low level, like a really simplistic looping system to do. And is not something I have expertise in. Like we could seriously keep like a RTS AI programmer busy for years trying to sort out all the automation needs of SS2. Okay, so let's do the bat HQ auto test, and you guys won't have this command. That is just a local bat file I created. So, all right, searching for available room options. Okay, well first of all, that shouldn't happen. So I need a solution for this. So this is the first thing we're going to code. So this is a case of I didn't put, so let's look in here. Okay, first of all, it shouldn't be trying to do it because West Office shouldn't be eligible. So we have a couple problems to solve here. So hangar, well, I don't think it's unlocked. I guess I should check that. Actually, let's go ahead and do, sure, be living quarters. Do we have hangar already unlocked in this? I don't think so, because I don't see military department. Facilities, clean. Oh yeah, it does have hangar unlocked. Okay, cool. All right, just making sure that wasn't broken. Okay, so we need it to, if it doesn't, so right now I have the code checking, like, check the next action in the process and see if there's room config. And if so, just assign it to that. I need to have it set up something like, if no config found, just pick one at random. That's fine to use. That's going to be the concession to, again, to make these easier to set up so that anybody can just like go make one of these, and it'll take them 20 minutes to organize a list how they like. So let's go do that. Here's where we get into the boring stuff. I need a different... all right, hold on. I got to figure out how to open up. I don't know how to open up 2 notepad windows. I don't want to lose all my progress and stuff I was working on earlier. So give me a moment here. How do I open 2 notepad++ windows? Oh, I got so much work stuff open too. No. Why doesn't this work? I used to be able to like drag. Okay, there it goes. I say I know I can. Sometimes I can drag windows out and get them to show up like this. All right, close you. Okay. Oh, I can save. Hold on. I can just save my files I'd open. Nice. I love Notepad++. Save my session. And then let's get a new one, and let's open up all of our HQ files. Bink, 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 bink. And I don't need this right now. Close you. Okay, there we go. I'll be using Windows 10 till I die if I can. I love Windows 10. Windows 11 drives me mad. All right, there we go. So now we have just our HQ stuff open. And we need to go to our new automation manager quest here. And here we go. We're checking for a new valid room config. And that actually also makes me think we need to do, let's see. I also need to analyze. We need to do a cast. We don't want to run those room config objects on their own. All right, so as room config action, this action. Well, I guess I can just do an is. So I can just do I need a if the action eligible. All right, let's do action should run solo. All right, let's go. Will be assume true. We can put some random statuses throughout the code here to turn this off. So, if this action is that, we don't want to run it. So B action should run solo equals false. All right, there we go. That'll solve one little problem. All right, so now I need some sort of mechanism in room clean when it tries to run. Well, let's compile that too, where it will just pick something. So automation. Vesely is finishing HQ 3.0 before going away with the kids without ripping HQ as the kid he's leaving behind. Poor HQ. Well, unfortunately, I found out in a recent trip that my laptop is no longer capable of working on sim settlements because chapter 3, like the amount of content that it's got in it now, like my laptop just chokes on it. So yeah, pretty much HQ's got to stay home. I can't really do any work while I'm while I'm on a trip with it. I can do some basic stuff. Like I can work on chapter 1 stuff, but for chapter 3 I can no longer load on my laptop. So if I understand correctly, we'll still have to clean rooms and choose what rooms are built when manually, but we can queue groups. No, the idea is like pretty much everything can be automated is the idea. You won't have to do anything that you don't want to do. That's the goal. Some of the more advanced projects that like wouldn't make sense to automate, like sending your teams to go claim settlements or build city plans in random settlements. Like obviously you don't want them just doing that and changing the whole map on you randomly. But like all the busy work stuff you should just be able to say, at the end of the how-to tutorial, just be like, at Mansfield, you do it and just walk away. Like that's kind of the goal. Okay, so let's go to the clean action here and see if we can automate fetching a room config. So we have this get room config. If the room didn't have one for us, because we can default set a room config, and room configs, I'm going to keep talking about those. That's that little pop-up where it says, what do you want to do with the room? And the reason room configs, oh, my headphones keep going out. The reason room configs, come on, just a second. I'm going to redesign this system, my desk setup soon. I have my sound, mixer under my desk. And it's just in an awkward enough position where if I'm not careful with my right foot, I bump it. And every time I bump it, it makes my volume go out. And then I have to kick it again. It's just like the fix electronics with a hammer solution. And then it comes back on. So it keeps happening, I guess, because when I'm not playing, I'm more focused on this side of my computer or something. I don't know what's going on, why I keep kicking it. Anyway, so room configs, they were a necessary evil because I wanted it when you were in command mode or in the workshop mode, facsimile, that you could just like run the projects and it would just know where to put the rooms without you having to keep figuring that out, right? Of like you shouldn't have to memorize like which room is the right shape to match the design. So it was just supposed to be automatic. So we needed to be like, and whenever you set up a room, it needs to know what type of plans that can plug into it. And so we just give you that option at the point of cleaning. So that's one of the reasons the cleaning exists, is a point for you to choose like, all right, what building plans do you want to unlock for this? So it seems like a pointless step, but it actually had a really important purpose. So now we need to, if the player is not going to give the room config, because I don't want any pop-ups. This is another thing I'm going to put on my note list is option to turn off HQ notifications, particularly those fired by automation. Like it could get, I know some people don't like even the plot upgrade messages, and those can already be turned off. I don't know if HQ ones can be turned off, but I could see maybe leaving the HQ ones on for projects the player ran and leaving them off for automated ones, so you don't just get constant spam in the upper left-hand corner. So anything HQ related, I don't want any menus popping up. I don't want it to pop up and say like, what do you want this to be used for? Or who should go on this mission? Or what room in the building do you want to use? Like anytime those pop up, it needs to be smart enough to just like pick one. So we already have the ability here to request a room config, which is what will make it pop up for the player. So what I'll do is I'll change this function and we'll give it a AB automated run equals true. So I know I used that pattern already once. Let me see where I did that. Try and follow a similar design. Let's check on the other files. What's wrong with my search? Let's see. Normal in selection, checking in all open documents. All right, let's see here. Oh yeah, okay, I like that better. So instead of telling request room config, well, let me go look at the requested room config. So we're going to open up HQ, object references. No, it's under library maybe. Object refs, HQ room. Here we go. All right, so let's look at the definition for request room config and see how we want to break this out. All right, so we've got apply immediately, return if single option, wait for menu time. Okay, so I think what I want to do here is, let's see, select action. All right, is select action. Oh, and this has the option to apply it immediately. Interesting. Okay, so I need to see this function and see if this forces a pop-up or if I can just pull room configs. Let's see here. What is this guy doing? All right, we've got filter keywords, cost confirmation, currently running actions, message selector. Yeah, so this whole thing is designed to be a pop-up. Okay, so now we need to go. You can see this is like turtles all the way down. We gotta just keep digging. All right, do we have action group open? It does not. All right, select action. What I'm trying to find is the point in the function where it's finding all the eligible results, but before showing them to the player. And then I want to make sure that that function that just finds the eligible results is separate. So I can just say like, hey, I don't need the UI part. I just need the ability to pull eligible actions. Like, where is that code? I think it's this. Yeah, it looks like it's this filter form list by keyword array to form list. UI selection helper form list. All right, so yeah, this is pretty well designed only to work single threaded since it's a specific form list. But I should still be able to repurpose this. So this is really simplistic code, but that's okay. So the question then is, where the hell am I getting these filter keywords? All right, so let's grab this. All right, and we're gonna do, so we're gonna do if pbln automated run. We're gonna do something else we'll do the default current thing because we know that works. So now to do fetch eligible room configs. And then, where are we at? We're in the clean room thing, so we're just going to grab one at random. Now, so now this is where we get levels. So this is something, this is going to just help with the room cleaning in general. This will make it like quicker to rig up new HQs because we won't have to for testing, we'll be able to just quickly do this without having to select. So this will kind of like solve kind of not necessarily a flaw in the code, but it'll make it less likely that this action ever fails. And actually, I'm going to comment this out. Let's put it, use something like that, because it's not, we don't want to exactly use that. But what I should really be doing for the automation side is here, if the next action isn't a room config, see, and this is where, like, I could write code to do what I'm about to explain, but I know it would be so horrendously slow that I don't know that it would be worth it. And this is why we don't have a lot of, like, intelligent automation. Like, this is why intelligent auto assignment requires you to use the COM array, because it's such a long process to actually logic that out, and we don't have a big like multi-threading engine. We don't have like databases to help us sort all this information. So we just have to do it in these like really inefficient loops. And like, that's what I have to introduce here. Like, what I'm thinking is we could, in theory, search forward through the rest of the list of HQ actions that are in the plan, in our action list, and check and see if any of them are room designs that would match the room config that this room that's being cleaned could do, and then set that so that it's kind of preparing it for it. But man, that would be slow. It would be so slow. Like, I think it would just, like, it would make this whole system crawl to just garbage. So I don't know if there's a good solution for that. So I think our best solution for now is going to be to pick one at random. We can do, I guess so I want to do this anyway, just because I like the idea of this action failing less. What I might want to do is something like, if we get to a room build action and it can't find a home for it, maybe search HQ for, let me think, what pairing do we have for the room projects? I think the upgrade projects, let me find that. So what do we want? We want not managed room action. We want, oh, is it under, it's on the main page. I think I moved them up here to just make it quicker to find them. Let's see here, HQ room upgrade. So what we want to do would be, so we've got target upgrade slot. How do we look up? All right, let's look at an upgrade slot script. Told you guys this was going to be dry. This is going to be me digging into code, trying to piece together how the hell I'm going to do all these things. Where did we hide slots? Nope. Hold on a second. Target upgrade slot. Let's just open, we'll search for this script. So I'm going to bring up this over here, and let's get into our scripts folder. This is one of those points where I'm getting punished for not using an IDE. But I have made up my own, like, I have my own makeshift IDE solutions, like Ultra Search, to search my Explorer directory. So now I can search for this, and we'll find it. All right, while we're waiting for that, let's check up with chat. I was like, Mansfield, meet Strong. He's your new best friend. Strong has 33 strength. Holy cow. Yeah, some of the vanilla companions have crazy stats. Right, tech. So we won't have to go back to HQ unless we don't want to, at least for the basic stuff. Yeah, that's kind of the idea. Like, for the most part, HQ will just do all its things without you ever going there. And, you know, we have you come back often enough from quests that you'll get a chance to see all the upgrades happening. And I think that was kind of the vision, right? Like, when you're playing it, that's probably what you were imagining at first. Until then, we told you, and now you get to tell people to clean, but you have to do the actual action, so it feels like you're doing it. But anybody who got inspired by the idea of HQ was probably imagining this idea of a headquarters that would evolve as you're away. So that's what I want to deliver, because that was what we envisioned too. Unfortunately, it got so bogged down in mechanics that that feeling doesn't get captured. Percussive maintenance for the win. Yeah, exactly. Seems like every day I'm kicking this thing. I'm surprised it still works. Winter World 19, I just jumped and watched it live. Is this an overhaul SimSomeone's 2 HQ system plus others? Yes, that is the goal. We're working on we're working on the automation for HQ so that it can just run itself. Like, you basically let the departments do it. Red Baron, maybe a new config item action plan. I actually already have that. I have what do we call it? Department plan, I think is what I called it. I just don't have it open right now. Department plans, and then they're just like a series of things like, I'm sure I did my typical put an HQ requirement on there. And I think I did make them an extension of HQ requirement. You'd be proud of me. I know I always push back at you on that of like, let's just use usage requirements. And I finally like squared my brain away with HQ requirements, and I'm now using them. Where did I put those new things? Probably library, misc objects, department plan. Department plan extends HQ requirements. See, I embraced it. And you basically like to assign it a department ref. I've got all these different plan types. So there's like one-time ones that are meant to, once the full plan runs, it like removes itself from the queue, so it won't try anymore. Repeating ones would be like the admin stuff where it's like just run the training over and over again. The player queue idea is like for the player having the ability to jump the queue so they can like slip things in. I don't remember what dynamic queue was. Some of this stuff. I have another page of notes, my little scratch pad over here that has more detailed notes on it. But anyway, I started with the department plan, and it feels good, like on paper, and it's basically working right now. So I'm happy at the general direction we're going with that. But now it's just solving some of these little dumb things of like, how do we bypass all these things where we were expecting player interaction previously? Y'all will be adding department head leader traits. That's the hope. I could see it being a time issue where it gets delayed. Like it might be that I ship with the code to support it, and then the actual content to fill it out doesn't get done until later. Could be something like that. We'll see though, because occasionally, when it comes to like content idea filling, like I bring it up at a team meeting and then somebody gets excited about it and goes nutso and turns me in a big data sheet with everything I would need, and then it'll just happen magically. That's what happened with like the stat overhaul and like city leader traits and stuff. It's just like somebody took the time to go dig into all the characters and come up with good stuff. I just know I'm guessing I will not have time because basically like I need to have a working draft of HQ automation within about 2 weeks in order for us to have enough time to test it all for a mid-March ship date. So I got a lot to do still. Not a lot of time to do it. But automation is like my number one focus, and then I have like a wish list. Actually, let me find that. I'll show you guys that too. I think it's on our Trello. I have a wish list of like other things I want to add in if I pull off the automation. Nope, this is wrong Trello board. All right, so my stretch goals for HQ 3.0 are allowing the military department to run raids without you off camera. So just send them to go like attack the gunners for you. That's a stretch goal. Expand the science department. I always wanted to have a bigger R&D system in the science department. Let's see, going down the list, trying to find the things that are maybe happening. Oh, I want to do an overhaul to the cooking and chem system. Here are some of the ideas I have for it. I want to put a central place for you to store resources. Like it'll be similar to the HQ storage system where you can just put stuff in there. There'll be one that's like, I don't know if it'll be called one called cooking resources, one called chem resources, or it'll just be like supply store or it'll have some sort of name. It'll either go into that system directly or it'll be a separate system. And you'll basically be able to just dump stuff that you want to be able to use while cooking or using the chem bench. And then there will be a mechanism in HQ for HQ itself to fill that with random stuff over time. So it's not just meant for the player to dump stuff in. They will be able to add stuff to it, like kind of donate it to it. It'll be like a donation system for like food and stuff. So that way, when you go back to use those HQ workbenches, if you just want to add your stuff to the pile, you can. But the primary benefit of it would be that HQ will just periodically dump stuff in there, and it'll be of varying quality. And then certain upgrades to HQ would like increase the quality and amount of daily deposits into the food and chem systems, so that every day you could plan on going to get a bunch of free food and chems out of the system. And the more you invest in it, the more it'll go. I have also earmarked as a potential thing we could have repeatable missions like stock cooking lab or stock chem lab, where you could have logistics just go get more stuff and plant it in there. So then the next day you'll find there's more stuff for you to take personally. So just like a little personal reward. So that's on the stretch goal. So like most of the stuff that I put on the stretch goals will happen eventually. It's just a matter of like, will they make it into 3.0 or do they get kicked down the road a little bit? There was one other thing, and then the leader traits is another one that's on the stretch goal list. So I got a lot of random stuff on there, but primary focus right now is automation, because I think that's the one that's going to have the biggest impact. I think it'll turn a lot of people's opinions on HQ, because I know it is the most divisive part of HQ, or of SS2 is HQ, because it's a grind. It's a really bad grind. And if you're into slow play, because I know some people are like, give me ways to make this take longer across the board. This has been a weird thing I didn't expect. When SS1 came out, immediately got a ton of requests of like, these buildings are too fast. Can you slow them down? Can you add resource costs? Make it slow down. So like, there are a lot of people who just want to play Bethesda games like at super slow speed on as hard a difficulty as possible. But I also know that's not the majority of you. So I want this to appeal to everybody. Maybe you have to tinker with some options to get it to fit your play style, but I think the majority of us would prefer if this stuff just ran itself. All right, so let's get back to my goal here. So let's start by just getting this working. Let's just get this filter room clean idea. All right, so now I need to backpedal through this to figure out where is this being fed from. So the filter keywords are coming from here. So this is select action is used where? All right, HPI select action, showroom construction menu. That's one of the spots. Request room config is where I'm at. Okay, so where is this getting its filter keywords? So we need an action type room config, and that matches the room shape keyword. So this is really simple. So we need just these two simple things here. So if we go back to our room clean, let's start setting this up. So we need room shape keyword, which we can just bake into, we can just use get room shape keyword. We'll just go ahead and create a function for that to fetch it from the getform.file so that it doesn't have to have that set on each one of these. This keyword. All right, what is room shape keyword? Actually, hold on a second. I just realized something. Room shape keyword. Is that actually a property? Got it. Okay, so this is, I was thinking it was a generic keyword. It is not. So let's delete that function. It's actually something on the room. So we just need to do, where is our room ref? Do we have it at this point? Yeah, k room ref dot room shape keyword. This is the one that we can get. So this one we can go get, because this is a generic keyword that's on everything. And we go look up this thing's ID. Miscellaneous keyword. Here we go. All right, so we need 4B to F2. Oops, 2F. Oh, come on. There we go. All right, so, and actually, I always hate when these are too specific. It just looks ugly. So we're going to be HQ action type room config keyword is what we're going to call that. Okay, there we go. So we're going to filter this keyword so that we can run this function, and that is the select from, is that select from option? No, P2R filter keywords. All right, where are we selecting from? So we're selecting from, I'm guessing it was selecting from the action group. Select from options list, form list. Show all registered. Available actions, build run, hiding. It's true. Okay, so we're just looking for the action group's unlocked actions by default. So we want... All right, so we need the get room config AG. All right, so this is an HQ action group. We need to grab one of these. Return game.get form from file 0x, and this one might actually not be in SS2. Oh, this I can't actually do. I can't actually fetch it like this because that actually is, so this is something we went crazy with the HQ code. The HQ code actually supports multiple simultaneous HQs. So I need to fetch the current HQ. We'll see where we already have that somewhere. Okay, so we need to get that somehow. So we need room config. Let's do this. Room config AG equals none. How do we get it to do? Get room config AG from current HQ ref. All right, we'll figure that out in a moment. Let's finish our thoughts here. So we need to get the unlocked actions. What we're trying to do is filter all the ones in this list that have the appropriate keywords that tell them that they match the room we're working with. And then let's look up this. How does this function work? Because I don't want to actually store it in a form list. I just want it to give it to me. So we were only filtering to a form list because that's something that the UI system we designed for Workshop framework can make use of, but we don't actually need it in a form list. So let's find where this is defined. I'm guessing this is in Workshop framework. Nope. Let's copy. Let's check all of our files here. I might have to go up a level here. Ramble on, good sir. Hello, Carbach. Braytech, any plans on expanding world population? Yeah, actually, some Foxel or Green Foxel, I don't know what he goes by on his Twitch channel, is working with a bunch of folks, and they're doing something called Conquered Stories, and they're going to be doing a presentation at E3 or C3, not E3, E3, rest in peace, C3 this weekend, and one of his goals is to put the world repop doors and templates for the buildings like across the majority of the Commonwealth. So he's going to put that into the base mod for us. So sometime later this year, we'll have world repop available everywhere. People will be able to turn it off. I know some people find that it's all the extra NPCs are a problem for their computers. So we'll make the system easily toggleable, but yeah, it is going to get a big expansion. Okay, we need to go search up a directory. So what's the best way to do that? I think it's just probably to go open that directory. All right, let's go to our Workshop framework scripts. And we'll search here instead. Is Power Armor for Dogman on the list? Not exactly, but I've been working with Tumba Jamba a lot. He does all sorts. If you go look him up on Nexus, he's got a crazy number of outfit designs. He tossed me something that he had in mind for dog meat. It's not Power Armor, but it's pretty cool. And I gave him a path we might be able to get that, or it might make sense to put it in SS2. We haven't followed through on it, but it's an idea being floated around. And I said the only way that it would make sense for it to be in SS2 is it would first have to exist for Cola. And then we could give a story explanation for it, and then it could be followed up with, and we made one for dog meat too. All right, here we go. We've got utility functions. Man, I've noticed in my videos lately that there are periodically like crazy like little noises, and I'm realizing my chair is like 10 years old. I think she's dying on me. It's starting to creak a lot. Or the plastic on the edges is probably just like brittle and awful. Which is a real bummer. This was a real expensive chair. I went crazy with my desk and chair because I spend so many hours, just crazy hours, like all day working here and then all night modding. So it's like I gotta worry about my back. I don't want to turn into a cripple by the time I'm 50. So not looking forward to that expense. Okay, so what is this doing? This is just adding it to a form list. I don't think there's any reason that this needs to happen. Yeah, see, I can just filter array to array. That's what I want. Filter form list by keyword array to array. No, I don't want to filter a form list at all. Yes, I do, because I have, let's see, I'm doing a form list of items, this form, yeah. So we just want form list by keyword array to array. This is the function we actually want. So we're going to do, so now this will return, I think it returns a list of forms, right? Yeah, this will give us back, so form filtered actions equals this. We filter keywords. We no longer need the target keyword list. Any match I think is, let's see, if any match is true, any single keyword will match. No, we want all the keywords to match. So any match is false. So now this will give us our filtered actions. Then we grab one at random. So we'll just do int I random index equals, okay, no, we need to do if filtered actions dot length is greater than 0, because it could fail to find anything. It shouldn't, but it could. Random index utility dot random int 0 filtered actions dot length -1, and then we do is this cast already, or do I need to cast it? Let's see. Yes, I need to cast it. Okay. So then we do room equals filtered actions I random index as, and we cast it to this big mess. Okay. Okay, so now the only thing we have to solve here still is this. We gotta figure out how do we get the one for the current HQ. And then that is no longer a to-do. It's basically working. Okay, so now we need to solve how the hell do we pull this action group. And I know I have a solution to this somewhere. Let's see here. All right, well, let me look at the GNN room config. Let's see, action group, or did I name them AG? Here we go, action group, room config GNN. What do I use to differentiate this? So there's no particular keyword identifier. All right, so I gotta see where this is in use. I have to have defined this somewhere as specifically for room configs, I hope. Otherwise, I've got to add that. All right, let's check on GNN Manager. That would make sense for it to be. All right, let's open this. And now GNN Manager, so this is one of those things where I said the whole system was designed so other people could do HQs. So GNN Manager is actually a extension of specific HQ Manager, which means anybody can spin up their own, like, not GNN Manager, like maybe they want to do Institute Manager and have you turn Institute into an HQ. Like, that is doable with this code. Would be a hell of a lot of work, but it's doable. I don't, after seeing how many add-ons came up and the complexity of some of them, I'm just like, there's no way. Oh, here it is. Room config action group. There's no way I was going to not code this in the same way everything else in SS2 is, in the sense of like letting people use the code for other things, because people will surprise you. All right, so then we need to get our, so now our solution, our problem is how do we get the specific HQ manager? And that, I think I have a code function for already. So let's search for Boop. Function. Let's see if we find that somewhere. Or, oh, I know where it is. It is going to be on HQ data store, I bet. Which that's easier to reach from here. HQ data. Yep, we can get managing quest. Okay, so let's do dot managing quest. Are we pulling that from anywhere already? Okay, so we need to do, okay, so we can already, inside of any action, we can call get HQ ref, which then lets us do get, we can then go to get the data store. So that actually makes me think we should just have a shortcut function to just go direct to this in one move. So let's do that. Let's go to get HQ ref. Is that defined here? No, that's got to be an HQ action. Let's try that. Let's do function. Find all. That is defined in good HQ action. So then we can expand that and do HQ data store function get HQ data store. And we can start with, I guess we have to do, yeah, we need the ref still first. And then we look this up. And then we can return it. All right. It's not particularly more efficient, but it just will make for cleaner code. So we'll go ahead and put that in there. So now we can do, wait, where did it go? Where did HQ actually, there we go. All right, so we're gonna do, grab the data store. Oops, not function. Let's spell that correctly. And replace in all open documents. All right, so we'll grab, okay, data store ref equals get HQ data store equals dot managing quest. That was where it was, right? HQ data dot managing quest dot room config action group. There we go. So man, that's a pain, but from current HQ refs data store. This is management quest. A lot of layers. And then it's, all right, then we filter by keywords. Let me get that. Okay, so in theory now, we should be able to recompile all this, run our thing, and it should find something automatic for the West office, and it'll be interesting to see what it does. So again, not ideal for it to grab something at random for room configs in particular with this system, but we're going to need, with all of these things, if I want to do the second layer of automation where it doesn't need to have a plan, then I'm going to need this kind of thing anyway. So randomization is usually like my fallback when it's like, well, doing an intelligent design here would be too slow, so like at least random is better than nothing, because the alternative would be just like first registered item, which would feel really bad because it would feel random between playthroughs, but it would always be the same in an existing playthrough, if that makes sense. All right, let me go back to chat. We're waiting for this compile because I got to recompile everything in HQ because so many of these scripts are intertwined. In fact, I should probably do, in fact, I need to remember to, I got an error up there. I need to remember to do a full compile. I'm going to put that in my notes. I got to do a full recompile before I release the patch tomorrow, or there's liable to be some little bugbear I didn't think of. Full recompile before patch. All right, let's catch up with chat here. Red Cat's Lee, an idea of robot workers will be able to send to HQ at some point? Yeah, they should already be able to. And PRA has a mod out that lets you put attachments on them that increase their special stats, which I really like. I think it's a great idea. Really great idea. I actually kind of want to convince him to put that idea in SS2 proper, because we have, oops, I had a double parentheses there. We have a system on our boards for future release, and it's the model's already designed, and a lot of the sub assets are designed of a robotics store as a new type. And one of the things that's holding it back is I want to have one of the things you can purchase in there are completed robots that were tailor-made with stats for the different plot classes. So for example, like there would be like an advanced farming bot that would have the appropriate amount of endurance, etc. And I have to write the code to generate those bots, but also thinking that it would actually be way better if instead of it just being like we just predetermine the stats on these bots, if they actually had like attachments that made sense for that class, and then the stats came from those attachments. And that's like stepping right into pros mod territory. So I don't like to just copy people's ideas. If I came to them independently, it's one thing, but like when someone else's idea directly inspires me, which is so funny. I know that's like a big conversation right now with how popular Pal World is, of like, it's so funny that we get all up in arms when people steal art styles, but like when people steal game ideas, which is just like the way the whole, like games just are always that way. People stealing each other's ideas. Like we don't seem to bat an eye, but as a designer, it bothers me to do it myself, even though, you know, as players, we kind of just accept it that like, oh yeah, people just steal ideas from each other for games and make them into new games. It's kind of a weird thing. Okay, let's see here. Line 86 on room clean, mismatch on action group. All right, what did I screw up there? Did I forget to cast or something? Room config, .managing. Oh, I bet it's just a form on there. So there's some weird stuff with Papyrus where some things you can use as script properties or as variables, and other things you can't. Yeah, and this must be one of those things, like for whatever reason we couldn't use our custom our script names as the variable type, so we have to just use form, and then that means every time we want to grab one of those we have to cast it manually, which is fine. It's just kind of irritating. It's just a extra little step for apparently no reason. I'm sure there is obviously a technical reason, I just don't understand it. So black boxes like that are irritating. But anyway, yes, you can send robots to HQ now. In fact, you can build robots right in HQ. That's one of the only mechanisms right now to directly get more HQ staff without having to send them from a settlement, is you can build a robotics lab. Vastly, I'll hunt for food if I can deposit an HQ so I don't have to see the red bar. Lachlan, did you say dog power armor? Someone's been asking for dog power armor. I'm not going to do dog power armor, but we have like some cooler dog armor. Like there's a bunch of like dog armor bits for the small dogs in the pet store already, but they're like very wastelandy. So is not a function. Filter formless by array is not a function, so I must not have imported that. Yep, I forgot to import utility functions. Red Baron at least is all Notepad++ syntax highlighter. I hate syntax highlighters. I hate syntax highlighters, and I hate autofill. Autofill things drive me nuts. I am starting to turn on I'm starting to like syntax highlighting a little more, and I think this is just like my eyes are getting old, that type of thing. So I made this little thing the other day where I can right-click a Papyrus script, like especially the HQ logs because they're so brutal to look at. But I can do this now, simplify Papyrus log, and what did I just? Oh, did I click on the wrong thing? I don't think I clicked on the simplify. No, I did click on. Oh no, yeah, I clicked on open with code, and then that switches it to this, which is like an HTML format with some color coding because it was killing me to look at the HQ logs. Like this is the formatted version, and this is hard to look at, but like let me show you guys what it looks like without that. This is what an HQ log looks like, and it is like 40,000 lines for 10 minutes of play. It's crazy how much gets logged. I actually think that one of the other things that I should do, I should make this like a part of patch day. I'm a little afraid of it, but there's a thing, I'll show you guys. There's a thing in here. If we go to preferences, go over to script, Where is it? Here we go. Compile mode. We can switch to release, and it automatically like skips all of the debug type commands like trace logs and everything like that. Now, writing out to those logs is not free. It absolutely adds script load. The funny thing is that I think a lot of our functionality relies on that tiny little microsecond lag to work correctly. So I anticipate by doing a release thing, and this is probably where a lot of strange bugs on Xbox come from that don't appear on PC, because I think some of our code, it helps prevent race conditions by having these tiny little delays. Because I've seen it before where I add in a trace and all of a sudden a function that was broken before works correctly. So I think that what I'll find is throughout all of my code, there's just going to be all sorts of little bugs that pop up. So I'm very afraid to compile that way, but I do need to put that. That's going to happen eventually, because it'll make most of you, 98% of you are never looking at SS2 logs, so they're useless. And even when you guys send them to us, most of the time there's not much we can do with them anyway. It's pretty rare that they're useful outside of development. So compiling and recompiling all of SS2 and release would probably have significant speed gains to everybody. I'm just terrified of it because I have no idea how many things are on PC are just relying on it to run properly. Let's see here. Okay, did I do that? I already did that. Yeah, I added the utility function, so this should compile now. Should. Famous last word. Please make sure your commit message is more than just HQ automation magic. Yeah, my commit messages usually are this. So where is it? Hold on a second. Let me bring this over here. I was actually gonna start. I'm gonna throw this out there for you guys. Does any of you have a good piece of I don't want to say mind mapping software, because mind mapping software drives me nuts because it's too technical. Like it requires too many fidgety dragging on boxes. I want something that's something like how a Word document is, where it's just like a big blank sheet, but I want it to be the whole screen. I want it to go infinite in any direction, and I want to be able to just drop pictures on there, type in it, hook up a tablet and draw with a pen, and just make it just a giant infinite piece of paper scratch pad. Does anybody know of a piece of software like that? I would like that, because that would be really awesome for me to quickly mind map things. Official mind map software slows me down so much that I can't get my ideas out. So then I end up literally just going over to a whiteboard on my wall behind me to brainstorm, and then I type it up. And I would much prefer if it was just on my PC in the first place. I've seen people use them in videos, and I have no idea what software they're using. I need to go back. There's some people who stream on Twitch, they're dev, who use stuff like this. I'm like, I want that. And I should just go look in their description or join the chat and ask them, but I have not done that yet, because it's just something that I've recently, while trying to flesh out this automation system, where I've started to have the desire to have this too many arguments past a function. Oh wait, I got distracted. I was going to show you guys something. So this monstrosity. Give me a second to bring it on screen. I gotta wait for it. It's so big, it's gotta load. I actually need to start a new one. So every time we release a major version of SS2, I start one of these. And just as I'm working, or as people turn in, submit stuff, and I merge it, I just start typing up notes of everything that changes. So this is every change that's happened since the 3.0 release. And this ends up being the patch notes. So I copy paste this into patch notes. I copy paste it into the Git, to the Git commits. So this is kind of what I use, so that it doesn't ever end up what you described, Vasily, of just HQ automation stuff. And try to give detailed notes on all this. There's less of those though when I'm working on these future projects. There is a good chance that it's just HQ 3.0 code that gets into this commit, because I'm not taking specific, because this kind of stuff where I'm experimenting doesn't necessarily need to go in the patch notes, because it might not make it in. So this is always a challenge to decide what do you note when you're testing things. HQ room 98. What did we do wrong here? Request room config. Wait, that's odd, because I didn't change this. Is unchanged for me. Oh, because of the automated run thing. That's right. I added that in while we were talking, and then decided it didn't make sense to add that extra parameter. Canuck Spelling reminded me, did you hear from a couple years ago about Aliens Colonial Marines alien AI being subfunctional because of a typo? Oh, that's funny. Mod 142 game rules can't be copyrighted. Yeah, I think that's why it was such a big deal when Warner Brothers trademarked or they did something with the Shadow of Mordor games where like the gameplay loop, they somehow got it protected, which is a shame because it's such an amazing game. Those games are incredible. If you've not played Shadow of Mordor, oh my god, is it fun. It's such a great mechanic. The thing where like the NPCs taunt you and they remember your kills and their deaths. Sometimes they'll come back to life and turn into like your adversaries and they rank up. It's such an amazing system. And we don't see it in other games because they somehow got it trademarked. I think that trademark's coming up soon though. I think there'll be I don't know if it's a trademark. I don't remember what it was, but it was somehow they got it and it was like such a shock because nobody ever does that in the games industry. Oscar Rice, speaking of Pal World, when you start working on Pal World Sim Settlement 1? Yeah, not anytime soon. I do like, the original pitch for Pal World, when I heard, the Pokemon with guns thing, I was like, get that out of here. That's garbage. That's trash. That's like the Winnie the Pooh horror movie, right? Like, it's just like, it's a pitch for shock value. It's going to be trash. I want nothing to do with it. But now, like, watching people play Pal World, I'm like, oh, this is like Factorio plus Pokemon. Like, that's a great combo. That's awesome. The guns thing was just like a way that's just a marketing device, which was really clever on their part. So, like, Pal World does look appealing, but I don't have time for that. I've got too much going on already. Okay, so that compiled. So I think we're ready to test. So let's so our theory, this is something I've started doing. Before I go into the game, I'm typing down what I'm about to test and what I expect to happen, because otherwise I will get distracted and forget. And I think it'll be doubly so since I'm talking to you guys. So our test is going to be run automation. Expectation is hangar west room gets cleaned and auto assigned a room config. So we're gonna go. That's our hypothesis. We're gonna go test. All right. So first, I need to grab the code. So I keep multiple copies of SS2 installed, one for playing and one for developing, so I don't accidentally assume something is working when I have it in my development environment. I want to make sure that it works while the code is archived, because I have made many mistakes throughout the years developing in this game where I was running in one directory and I would be like, yeah, it works fine because the scripts were all compiled, and of course it works for me because the scripts are just in the raw directory. This makes it much less likely that I forget to actually package the scripts for you guys. Modern 42 trace log active equals function knows it's being watched. So performance better. That's like the I'm sure any of you guys who's like your family tech support, when your family will tell you about a problem, then they go to show you it and it doesn't happen in front of you. It's like that. Replace all HQ trace calls with sleep calls. No, that does not sound like a good solution. It would probably, it would effectively work, but that sounds like, it does sound like a cheap solution though. Or I use Obsidian. It's been pretty good, but I'm not sure if there's plugins that enable that kind of tech. Obsidian, I've heard that before. I'll have to go look into that. I am just looking for some new thing to just like quickly note down stuff though. Okay, so our test was, and see, this is why I'm glad I wrote down myself a test. We're going to do bat HQ auto test. Nope. Auto test. And, okay, we got no pop-up immediately, so that's good. So now let's go, well, let's wait and see if the energy fills up, because that will mean that the cleaning project started. Where are you headed to, buddy? You going to do a cleaning project in the hangar? Because that would be really cool. I don't think he is, though, because I think generally the projects will just teleport people to them. Tries to teleport people that are not near the player, but nice pathing. Good job. Follow dog meat. He knows where he's going. He's not running into walls.
Yes.
No, I don't want to talk to you. I want you to go clean. Alright, so far nothing seems to have happened. Let's go check in the hangar and see if something happened and we just didn't get the notification. Oh wait, see, the hangar's not available. What is going on here? I love a lobby. Do we have... Why is the hangar showing up? Yeah, see, hangar's not available yet. Something's going on. Something weird's going on here. Alright, but some energy did get used, so there's something going on. So let's do, yeah, clean hangar west office. So it did work. But it shouldn't have. Hangar shouldn't even be a thing. Oh, you know what it might be? Clean hangar viewing platform we're in. Cool. So it's working. But now I'm concerned, why is the hangar showing up here? Is this like a bug in the mod that everybody has and I just didn't know about it? Do you guys always get hangar projects showing up too early? Or is this a problem with this save? I would believe either. Well, either way, we can... go down there. Let me see, I don't remember what the hangar cell name is. This is to C2. Here we go. Let us go in there. Do you use OneNote to note things down? I find it pretty handy, but I'm not smart with this kind of stuff. I have not used OneNote. I'm mostly looking for something that I can just scribble all over the page and drag screenshots and kind of organize information. Just a scratch pad of sorts. That's not Photoshop or Paint. There's got to be something better than that. Is there any way to manually restart the build limit recalc? To restart it? I mean, you can just run it again. I don't know. Where are you trying to run it? You've never seen hangar projects before unlock. Okay, it could be just a fluke in this save. I have no idea what state this save is in or where it came from specifically. Like, it might have just been an old alpha test save that I snagged. But let's see. This one... Unused room. Okay, so it didn't work. So, like, this room should have been assigned a room config. And it was not. Where's West Room? I think it's over here. Wait a second. Well, we can just look. Where's West? Yeah, West. Somewhere over here. And this one? Okay, but that did get assigned a bathroom. Interesting. So why didn't... I wonder if it's something like we don't unlock... Oh, I bet it's because the military department head project wouldn't be unlocked at this point yet. So it didn't have an eligible room config, which makes sense. Then it would switch to unused room. That's good that I have the code capable of showing unused room. So we apparently had this problem before and solved it that way. Of at least, like, there's a fallback option if it gets cleaned without an eligible room config. Alright, so this is a good promising start. I kind of want to grab my, no, that save won't work. I want a save that's deeper in but doesn't have anything done in HQ yet. Like one that has a whole bunch of people in it but nobody bothered to do any projects. That's a tall order though. Let's see here. Alright, so I'm going to operate on the assumption that that is basically working for now. I'm going to put myself a note in there to... To do, no, I'm gonna put it in my other document. Hold on. To do test automated room cleaning more thoroughly on different save. So I no longer trust this save file. It's very odd that HQ is already unlocked. All right, so let's do. All right, let's get rid of these hanger ones since they are problematic. And let's do some more clean room. Let's go ahead and do everything else. Let's just do the main floor. Let's just stick to the main floor here. All right, we'll let them all randomly assign configs. And we'll see what happens. I guess let's try this too. Let's do build. Let's put a bunch of build projects in there. We need HQ GNN. No, it's called not build, it's called construction. There we go. Okay, and so like this is one of the things with like building these formless plans. Like it works fine for prototyping, but I don't think this is an effective way to do it in the long term because the plan can never complete unless all the actions complete, and some of these actions aren't going to be eligible to run simultaneously. Like for example, if you build like Jake's quarters, then the other mid-sized living quarters that fit in that same room won't go anywhere anymore. So this will be fine for prototyping, but I got to remember that this is not going to be a useful long-term solution. So I'm going to just go ahead and toss all these room constructions in here. We'll not do the MQ ones. Just want to see what happens here. We'll see what kind of crazy stuff happens. And my hope is that nothing bad happens so that I don't have to look at the log file. That would be the ideal. If like just reasonable things happen. You try the lucid charts, might give you what you're looking for. No, I haven't. I will have to go check it out. Yeah, actual hanger functionality. We have plans for it. It's stuck in a weird limbo though. So like, we've always had plans for you to eventually get a vertibird in there that you could use to travel as a alternative to the Brotherhood. But we always wanted to introduce it with a new character, and that character has a lot of dialogue written. It's just a matter of doing it justice will be a challenge. So it's kind of like it's been perpetually shelved. We'll hopefully bring it back. But if we end up never doing that character, we'll just like one day I'll just ship an update that's like, no, you can build a vertibird, and it'll just appear, and it won't be quest associated. It'll be a little less cool, but at least it'll have vertibird functionality. But that has been the intention. Hence the hanger. And the trailer, you saw it in the chapter 3 trailer. We have that in there. All right, HQ auto test. Let's see what kind of shenanigans we get here. Monitor 42, the save already seems borked. Yeah, there's something definitely wrong with this save, but it's got like the under the hood, because I've been tinkering with this one for a while, and the under the hood mechanics operating HQ are functioning correctly. Like it's always getting the expected amount of energy, and that's mostly what I need right now. Is I just need a save that doesn't have a bunch of projects run, that is correctly generating energy and resources. So the save is most of the way fine. It's just that the only thing that seems odd is the hangar is unlocked early. So it's likely that this save was using an alpha build when we were still testing the hangar before we launched it. So I'm not seeing anything that's going to invalidate testing yet. I just need to go double check with a live save that hasn't had that problem, to make sure that the HQ projects, or the hangar projects rather, respect the rules. All right, so I could pop in and look at active projects, but because we have the real-time thing on, they're finishing so fast. By the time the active projects menu generates, it'll probably just pop in the corner and tell me what updated. Yeah, see. All right, finished project, large men's restroom. Okay, so it's building the ones down here, because I had done the cleaning off camera. So we should see, yep. So the next project, if I run it again, it should end up doing this one, because I think that was the next one in the queue. Now we have to keep running it manually like this, because I don't have it set up to loop yet, because we're still in testing. I just want to make sure this all works. Oh no, see, so it only did facilities energy that time, and if it was going to be cleaning or building a bathroom, it would have needed engineering as well. So I'm guessing it's just cleaning something right now. So obviously, like in the actual release of this, you won't be clean upper balcony. Okay. You won't. Is upper balcony over there, or is it back over in that corner? I can't remember. But anyway, you won't have to like run any command or anything. The idea is it'll just kind of loop on its own. Clean upper supply room. Okay, so upper supply room I think is over here. Should be this guy. Yep.
Yes.
Hey bud, good job. And did it get a room config? It did. Supply closet. Clean upper office west. Which one is what? I think it's upper office west. Southwest office is first floor. Oh man, it ran also a whole bunch of them. Awesome. I think this is upper office west, but if it is, the nice way you can check is if the sensor appeared. Yep, there it is. Lower southwest nook. That's like the... Okay, so that gave Teresa her private quarters. Then we'll go down. It looks like it's grabbing a whole bunch of stuff down in this corner over here. Yep, and this got clean, and it should have been given the vending. Oh, yep, common area. That makes sense. Clean lower closet north. It actually seems like it's looping now, which that's awesome. I'll have to go figure out why. I didn't tell it to do that. All right, I thought this was upper balcony, but clearly not. That must be upper balcony, something I'm not remembering. Clean bathroom, upper south, women's. Okay, cleaned up this. Where is the door controller? Here it is. And I think this one only has one option. I think it's just kitchen. Cafeteria. Oh, I bet I know what happened. I bet it's because I don't think I put blockers in yet to prevent it from running twice. So probably since I ran the command twice close together, it actually just queued up two sets. So I think upper balcony might be up here. Might be up there. No, doesn't look. That does not look clean. I'm not sure where upper balcony is. It's still doing stuff. It's still building away. Lower central office. Oh, I guess it could be doing stuff on some of the other floors too. I forgot about that. There's the mid floor as well. Some of the names are similar. Okay, looks like this room got cleaned. Yep. Admin offices, cool. Alright, here's another supply closet. Looks like it got built. Nice. Yeah, this thing's going real. It's really looping now. This is a far. So when I started this system, like 2 weeks ago, it was a mess of message prompts on my screen and notifications in the corner. It was dizzying. So this is feeling really good that I'm getting no user interaction. Like that's because that's what we want. It's automation. It's supposed to be everything behind the scenes. It's doing it all on its own. Player does not have to be involved. Things are just happening. All right, out of curiosity, since it keeps running stuff, I'm gonna try doing view projects. Let's see what we got. What is running right now? Okay, so it looks like it's trying to. I think that's a build administration office. Administration offices. Exit. So like in theory, yep, it's building right there. Cool. But you can see, like, the fact that it's, oh, that drives, oh, Flickr, the worst. Get that out of here. You can see how long this is taking, because I've only run it, we ran it once, no, twice, and the runs may be overlapping, but it's taking this long just to finish one run. So you can imagine how much worse it would be if we were to give it some sort of logic, like look forward logic, to look through and see, like, what does HQ need right now? And so that is where what I think would be a better solution for that kind of look ahead logic would be in a dynamic system where it kind of goes through once and calculates it like every couple of days, like calculates itself maybe a new dynamic plan, and then it just starts running through that plan, assuming everything is fine, and then it'll reevaluate in a couple of days, so that way it's not every single cycle needs to go through the entire list of actions to determine what's ideal. Something like that might be theoretical, might be possible. Let's see, what is this one? Bathroom, makes sense. I can't tell if that's got to be the, like this one's uncleaned. This one I think is cleaned. It's just got the broken toilet still because it hasn't been built. So a lot of times the clean actions will like get rid of the dirt, leave the major pieces of furniture or set dressing, and then they'll get replaced when the actual construction gets done. All right, let's go check the mid floor and see if anything got done in there. Jared Amos, coding, home of, it should work. I've looked over it 100 times. It's working. I don't know how, but it is. And how did this minor change in this function break the unrelated code? Oh, yeah. My favorite little gift to share is, oh, see, look at that. It's even saying the mid floor is not unlocked. So this is like a very early, like we haven't done anything. We haven't even done Doctor in the House, I guess, in this. Yeah, super slow water in the bridge. But yeah, there's a gif of a cat messing with pipes, and every time he touches one, it breaks another one. That's what it feels like coding a system this big. Okay, so I think the function finally finished running through its first iteration because we haven't seen anything else happen again. So we can run it again now and see what it chooses to do for its next iteration. But that's also a check mark in the pros column for why I should have this just run or switch all of the times to be the non-timer overrides. So just let them run on their, whatever the labeled time is. So when you go in and you see the project says it's going to take 1 day or 3 days, like let it just do that for the automation. Because then we won't have this massive script having to run constantly. It flagged my video as Fallout 1. This is our Fallout 1 remake. I'm so addicted to looting, even when I'm testing. I can't help but grab valuable things. Look at that. There's just bottle caps just laying around. Like my lizard brain thinks of them as having real value. This guy's busy. He is the hardest working HQ guy we've ever had. Nice work. Now can you... I guess Mala's a lady. You can be in there. Bye. Alright, the peepin' Tom room is over there, buddy. For gentlemen only. Alright, so it looks like 2 different projects just queued up. I don't know, this is feeling pretty awesome already. Like, this is to be this far along already. Like, I anticipated this was going to be a multi-month project to get this all working, but I'm feeling pretty happy that we got this far. But that's always kind of how coding goes, is, you know, the first, like, the last 20% takes as long, if not longer, than the first 80%. Hey, look at that. The lower hallways got cleaned right in front of us. So I'm getting excited because we're getting through this, like, first visible chunk pretty quickly. But then, like, all the little polish, like the idea of having, like, a queue system and multiple plans registered by other things. Like, there's so much more under the hood stuff to do. But this is a good start. This is nice to have a lot of the UI issues worked out and know that I have, like, a rudimentary thing. Like, this is probably good enough where I would give it to alpha testers to be like, you know, maybe not make them run a command, but maybe, like, just put it on loop to run automatically. And, like, just get their feedback to see, like, what breaks, like, what random things did I not see? Did you get some random pop-ups somewhere? Are there, you know, did a couple of rooms build on top of each other? Like, what's going wrong? While I focus on some of the other stuff. Let me get up my list of, like, next efforts. So obviously, like, I need to do this for multiple departments, but the code for all the actions is the same across the board. So there really shouldn't be any difference in the code for them. The exception would be, like, things like the HQ room clean, where I did the look ahead one step to be like, check if there's a config just already sitting there waiting for you rather than do random. So if there might be points where I need to do more of that, where it might be useful to put some look ahead stuff, some minor look ahead. Like, like I said, I'm not going to do a full sweep each action, because that would just be very, very it would just be very expensive. Like, even iterating a form list is super slow. So let's see here. What would be the next best use of my time? I guess it would be, let me see here, it would be, I'll create, let's see, create automation lists. Oh, what was that? What was that? Steve Powers, thank you for the subscribe and triggering one of my favorite noises. Let's see. Create automation lists for the other departments for testing. And that would be a good first thing. Create a loop. Oh, I know it's something I gotta put at the top. Make sure this didn't end up in 3.2.2 by mistake. I'm gonna do that for sure. That'll be a tomorrow project though. Alright, to run every X hours. Toggle system on desks to turn automation on off. Alright, so I think I have some basic stuff in mind just to get this in the hands of some testers to look for, like, little corner cases that I didn't think about yet. I guess I will add to that list, make automation use a different timer setting. So defaults to on, or defaults to off, I guess. Isn't that, how do we have the word verbiage on override timers? I think it's override timers on means that the timer gets skipped. Yeah, okay. Defaults to off. Okay. All right. I think I got a basic plan to get this at least like rudimentary implementation into alpha tester hands, which is always good. Anytime we can iterate like this. So let's do that. Let's start working on that. Okay. So first thing on my list, let's make automation lists for the other department. So I already have them. Let's see, what is this? Oh, this is the queue list. So I need to make action lists now. So the idea is a queue list can have multiple plans in it so that like when one plan completes, the next one can go, etc. And that might be one of the ways where like while we're in this early phase of prototyping, we could make, instead of having to make a monster list like this, we could just make a bunch of smaller plans that are a little easier to digest, like make a main floor plan and then a middle floor plan, etc. And that might make it, that'll also make it easier for unlocks too, to be like, all right, well, the main floor plan should be first, and then the mid-floor plan can unlock when the mid-floor unlocks, so that way the code doesn't have to waste its time checking all those at that point. That would make a lot of sense, yeah. But that's for another day. All right, so let's use the same naming scheme. Go ahead and give the other departments some lists. So we'll do administration. And then let's look at what are some admin projects we can give. So HQGNN action. Let's see, what can we give the admin department to do? Oh, we could put, I just realized we can put in facilities, we can put all the repair projects in there too. Let's see. Repair. Boop. There you go. Now you guys got the repair projects too. So again, I think it would make more sense to have multiple of these lists instead of just one, but we're just prototyping. I'm gonna put that on my list too of like, breakup, HQ default department into multiple, such as by floor, another benefit of it, if the plans are smaller, the queue can get rid of them sooner, and the sooner it gets rid of them, the less time it has to spend iterating them. Because the way the design pattern is it looks at how much energy you have for your department, and it will just keep iterating. It'll go through the queue one time until it runs out of energy, and then it'll stop. It'll break out of the loop. But that means if like at the top of your queue list, there's a list like this of facilities with all these, it will keep checking them all until they're all marked as complete. And that could take quite a while. So it's just going to have to iterate through a lot of these over and over again. Whereas if it was a smaller list, it's more likely to complete quickly, and then it can just never check those again. So it'll just be more efficient to have a whole bunch of these action lists instead of just one. All right. Oh, and like research would be an awesome one to have automated, right? Like how many times, if you come back to HQ and realize, oh, I should have started more medical projects because they take days. Like this would be an awesome system to have automated. So then, like as you're discovering, you're researching cures, or as you come across new diseases, they can just get popped into the queue automatically and start getting researched. And I think it'll feel nice too. To just be playing and like without having to have told it anything. All of a sudden you just get a message like HQ research to cure to flap limb. Like that'll just feel cool. I mean, it feels silly as well because it said flap limb, but that blame Bethesda for those goofy names. All right, so let's see here. Where are the admin projects? Okay, we can't automate admin policies. That doesn't make any sense. We can do the office party. You can guys do an office party whenever you want. Where's the training, though? HQGNN training. What are those ones called? Event staff training. These we can run over and over. All right, let's try searching for event. Staff training. Yeah, that's fine. We can just run these and the office party to make people happy. Loop through those. Okay, that's what admin's going to be doing. What about engineering? So engineering can just be trying to trigger different upgrades. So we'll do upgrade. Oh, I know what admin can be doing. Decorations. I forgot about the decoration projects. Decorate. Allegiance to core. Yeah, put up the decorations. There you guys go. We'll put these. So actually, I'm going to pull these events out of there because I actually have. I have plans for a second set of plans that are intentionally repeated as opposed to one time. So let's keep the focus on that. Let's stick to only one-time events for this first test. All right, we need upgrade for engineering. What can we do here? We're not going to do. And I guess I could do them. So that's probably another thing is where I probably won't put the stuff that's in the main quest. Won't put those as part of the automation plan. Probably won't, but we'll see. Because in some of the Commonwealth Rising quests, some of the goal of that is to give the player a way to self-teach of being like, here's an arbitrary goal. Just work on HQ, and eventually you should have enough resources to achieve these objectives. That was kind of the goal of that whole quest. All right, so we should be able to just drop in all these upgrades. Well, let me check. Some of these I think these cubicles, I think these might actually, they're called room upgrades, but I think they might actually be assigned to facilities. Or if not, they should be, because it's confusing. Like those particular, I know that one design in the mid-floor where you do the thing is kind of awkward. Because it feels like they should just be building beds, but instead it was designed as the base room just sets up the cubes so they can have room upgrades, which the goal was thinking about it like building plans. Like we want, more people to put out more designs and then you can swap them out to get a more interesting setup in there. But in practice, it's often confusing for folks. But let's just go ahead and drop all these room upgrades in there. That's a nice thing for engineering to work on. Is this? Yeah, this is engineering. Yeah, we can do security cameras too. Sure, player fire escape. Those are all one-time things that can go in the list. There we go. All right, and now we need one for logistics. What can logistics do? That makes sense on automation. I think they got some and that's another thing. Like some of those like interesting research projects. Should we put those on automation? Because then there's a good chance the player has no idea they happened because they're not paying attention. Or do we just say, hey, it'll be a cool thing to find out that happened later? I don't know. I could like the ASAM design database or the caravan expressions, like all this stuff. Should we put tech research in automation? I am going to for the test, but I don't know if it makes sense to keep it there. Oh, that's another thing. The HQ automation does react to the policies. So if the player sets up the overwork policies, the automation system will tap into that energy too. Like it knows to do that automatically, which is nice. Let's see here. What else does logistics do? I can't remember. Oscar Fry, do you think you would ever do a stream with Tim Kaine to show off what we've done for FO4? I don't think Tim Kaine wants to do that. I mean, I'd love to talk to the guy. That'd be cool. I don't think he would be interested in talking to me though. I'm nobody to him. Vasily, all right, time to go to sleep. Say hi to Jake for me. Good night. You probably said that a half an hour ago and I missed it, so apologies. Nick Carter, any parts of the pre-population system in the test versions yet? No, the pre-population is a long ways off. The pre-population is probably going to be one of the very last things that we give you guys, because it introduced, like, pre-population requires that all of our other systems are rock solid. We can't have a bunch of bugs. We can't hop. We can't have like a lot of like wacky systems that don't work remotely. Like, there's just a whole lot of stuff has to be pretty rock solid. So we got a long way to get there. But the pre-build has been tested in the past. It wasn't originally going to be delayed. It was going to originally ship. But then, like, after discussion of it, of like how confusing it is for new players and how much it'll screw up the quest lines, and we just like decided it just wasn't worth shipping with when we knew we were going to be dealing with mountains of bugs from a new launch. So, but it has since been kicked to the earliest patch. Hold on, I think I have a list of it. Where did I put it? Post-launch list. So this is this the right list? Hold on. I have a bunch of these lists. No, this is the wrong one. Nope, that's not it either. I don't actually know where I put that document. I have it open in another on another computer, I think. But anyway, I think it's like the earliest patch it's queued for would be 3.6. So 3.6.0. So what we're working on right now is 3.3.0. So, and we're planning on doing one of these big ones every like once a quarter. So like earliest. So that means 3.3.0 would be spring, 3.4.0 summer, 3.5.0 fall, 3.6.0 winter. So like earliest would be this coming, like next winter would be that. But I don't know if that's going to happen or not, because it's such a beast of a system. We're finally getting the hanger with 3.0, like with the with Vertibird technology. No, that would be nice, but there's too many. I think the automation system alone is going to push the limits of my time. So I don't think we're going to get that with 3.0. But it's on the chart of things we want to get in before we say the mod's done. Mod 142 is a limit on the number of people training at a time. In HQ, it automatically trains everybody in a department that is in that department at that given time. So if you run the facilities training, however many facility employees you have at that point get the training. Or they get one level of the training. And then if you recruit another guy, run the training again, everybody who was in the first training now has level 2 of the training, whereas the new guy will just have level 1. So there is a reason to run the training over and over again. Connect for tech, maybe add letters in the player max. We just added X functionality. Yeah, we could do something like that. We could also do something like pop-up, like unlock pop-ups, make them a bigger deal, right? Like so that they don't get lost in the shuffle, because these are pretty, like, especially ASAM design database, like that is a massive upgrade to your gameplay, like across the board. It's a big deal. So like that's not one we want people to miss. Let's see here. I just saw one. Clean gunner logos. Do we have that in the facilities list? We should put it in there. Now it is. Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Carvok, thank you for the donation. King, when pre-pop comes out, the number of systems I will stress test with my settlements will be fun. The joke being, I build to burn Xboxes every time. Yeah, pre-pop plus your city plans, deadly combo. The Xbox Slayer. Yeah, pre-pop, like even outside of just like functionality, just the amount of taxing it does on a system is pretty incredible. It's definitely a lot better. Like the SS2 version of it is a lot. It's a lot It's more system safe than the SS1 version of it was, than the Conqueror version was. So it's definitely far less intense. I've gotten a lot better at coding out these complex systems and actually threading things, but all right, let's see here. All right, I'm not seeing anything else. I think logistics, like for the most part, everybody uses logistics just to fill out. Maybe I just search for logistics. You just to fill out your supply agreements. Primarily, what they end up using. And then like we don't want to do like these. I think the make contact mission, establish new city. I think those never get added. I think that's too much. We could definitely put the auto repeat, like the ones that handle disaster prevention and disaster handling already is automated, but we could put disaster prevention into the loops. So I think for logistics, this is it. This is all they get right now, and that's fine. So this is just our test, and this is also another thing that's fun about this exercise is I start to get a picture for like what departments feel criminally underused. Like for me, it was always science was the one that was like, that was always meant to be like the payoff department, and there's just not enough there. There needs to be more. All right, okay, then the military stuff. So this is one of those ones where I have to like plant this in order to keep all the chapters like nicely isolated. I tend to plant this stuff in I'll plant stuff in chapter 2, and then I have to merge it in, and then I can add to it in chapter 3. So this is going to just be blank for now, and then I have to like do a merge, which we're not going to do on camera. It takes too long. All right, we can put all the cure stuff in science. Oops. So let's go do medical. Nope. We want research. Medical research. All right, and we want to put them in order because we want to research the diseases first. So research disease, then research the cures, and then finally research the vaccines, because that is the order that you unlock them. All right. Do we have anything else that science does? I know we have a couple pieces of tech research, but it's not much yet. Oh, see, engineering. That's another thing we can add to engineering. They can get some of the tech research. Let's see, we don't want to force PA system radio. That's like a thing the player should do. But power transfer extensions, long range comm, long range, yeah, these things we can all add to the list. That's all great. Okay. And then security. That's our last one. And security, I think, is another one that doesn't have a ton we can put in the list. So like departments that are going to benefit the most from the system are going to be facilities, engineering, and science. And then everybody else, it'll be, but again, like building out this system and making sure that if somebody out there makes an add-on with some clever ideas that we didn't think of, then I want them to have the code to do it without having a code. Oh, I got another thing to put on my wish list for HQ 3.0. Let me bring where's my Trello? We need to fix HQ attacks, because I don't think I've heard a single person ever report a bug with them, which tells me that they're just not happening. They just don't exist. I know they exist in code. I don't think anyone's ever seen one. All right, let's see. What are they called? Patrol? Watchkeeping. Let's see, we can do items. No, let's go to, okay, we're in form lists already. Let's look up security. Security training. Okay, yeah. And security just basically has nothing that would make... They don't really have any one-offs. Like, everything of theirs is repeatable stuff, I think. All right, so that's fine. We'll just leave that as a placeholder. Okay, so now we need to go back to department plan. And we need to create... There's more records that go with this. Of course there are. SS2 is just layers and layers of records. Chucho, I've also never heard anyone mention HQ attacks. Can't remember when HQ be attacked. Yeah, I think I'm fairly certain. I have seen it in testing back when I made HQ, or when I made the disaster system rather. And I think during that cycle I broke it and then never touched it again because nobody reported any bugs about it. So I assumed it was fixed, but this is too long. This has been what, 2 years since it's been out. So. Aaron is Bill, keep hitting a bug where I can't clear the outside of Olivia when you first get the comm hub, but if I go to Jake, we'll follow and use the computer, but I can't clear the inside. Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know if there's, maybe there's like a disabled NPC in there. Are you using any other quest mods by any chance? All right, so this was, we need to, okay, department plan, facilities, test. All right, facilities, cleanup and construction plan. No, we'll keep the name, yes, all right. Department plan. Let's go here. Uh-oh, did I just make a new one? Or did I just forget to rename it? Yeah, I just forgot to rename it. Okay. And also, this is not how you spell facilities. Facilities. Oh, no, I did rename it. Okay. I added facilities in there, spelled terribly. Did I spell it wrong? Here too. Facilities. No, that's correct. Okay. All right, let's make another one for admin. What are we doing in admin? We're doing, oh yeah, decoration. Decoration plan. All right, so we need to switch this to the admin department. Grab our new action list. And what type? And this is a type 1 time list, and it's completable, and we don't care about requirements, so we're good there. So nice and easy to make. And I don't think I'm registering these. This is another thing I need. I need a registration system. I can add that to my list. Yeah, the deeper I get into like systems development, the longer and longer my list gets, to where I'm all excited about, oh, it's going so fast, I'll have it done in no time. So by the time I'm done with like a single session, I've added 3 times as much work as I just did onto the list. So this is going to be engineering upgrade plan. And the rest should be the same. And logistics. I guess this is the logistics research plan. Oops, engineering logistics. Let's try that again. Logistics test. All right, and I'm not going to create one for military here because I don't want to register the plan because it'll immediately mark complete for people who install C3 later. So I'll actually make it part of C3, even though I have the form list here. And actually, on that note, I'm going to delete it here. Well, the reason I put all the military base stuff in Chapter 2 was because in theory, somebody could release... No, that's stupid. I was going to say, in theory, somebody could release a... Oh, wait, what was that? Why did that give me a warning? Oh, that's right. I need that one. What I don't need is this one. In theory, somebody could release a add-on that made use of the department without Chapter 3, but that doesn't actually make sense because you wouldn't be able to reach it. So I guess there's no reason. There's no reason to put the military stuff in here. All right, so then this will be the science medical research plan. And lastly, we need... So this one is just, this one we won't even bother with. We're not even going to keep this plant. There's nothing in there. Well, I want to have it just for mods to inject into, I guess. We'll put the military one in Chapter 3. So let me put that on my notes. After merge, create placeholder military. Oh, I guess it won't be a placeholder because there actually are military project. Create department plan for military research stuff. Okay, so this is just going to be security. I'll just call it projects because I don't have anything in there yet. Okay, so we got our 6 there. Okay, so now we need to, so I've got the first step done. All right, now I need to set up the loop to run. Let's go to our code here. Automation manager, try to execute plan. Are we running this anywhere? I think I already designed the loop, but I just don't have it running yet. Trigger automation, try to spend department energy, automation loop in progress. So it's a matter of, is this running anywhere? No. So we need to do... Also, we should do something like try to spend department energy. We should check here before we try running it. Is department available? It is available. I think that's already a function. That is available. And... all right, let's go check our department ref. HQ room. Department object. Available? Is that a function? No, it's not. All right, let's see. Probably a function ending with a bool. Oh, I wonder if it's just like, is it disabled? I could see myself doing something like that. Yeah, it must just be if it's disabled, you can't use it. So we'll just do. If not, that is disabled. Trigger automation. So then, in theory, if we just start running this right from the start, let's check our. Oh yeah, and also I think I have this department plan queues. I think gets registered to when the departments are available anyway. Yeah, registered new department plan form list. So I don't technically need this, but at least then if the department gets disabled for some reason, like if in our gameplay loop we decide to temporarily eliminate a department, then that's how I'm checking it. So that's fine to have. So yeah, we can trigger automation right away. Department plan form lists, and then trigger automation. And we will actually, no, let's make a new one. Start automation loop. And we'll call it something else. We'll do start automation timer. And we need some timer IDs here, which we don't have yet. All right, int property. No, I don't need it to be a property. Timer ID. How are we doing these currently in other documents? Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Okay, automation timer equal. It's already got timer in there. Automation equals 101 const, and we need a timer amount. Float f timer length, I think I call these. Yep. And we'll do this every 6 hours for now. We can change it later if we want it to run more often. Start timer game time. All right, then we need a event to catch the timers. And I think this is a slave quest, so we need to call the parent as well. That's an HQ quest, which I think is part of the slave quest system. Let's see. Cleanup project is run. How do we know which room to assign? Yeah, okay, I already know about that. Let me get that. I got that in another document now. All right, so we're gonna call parent on this in case the parent function needs to use this timer, and then we will call trigger automation and start, and we'll restart the timer again afterward. Actually, I need to do a if AI timer ID equals I timer ID automation. There we go. We don't want just running every time a game timer runs. Okay, so now, as soon as you load this up and run the quest, which it's already checking correctly for the appropriate patch, automation manager. Okay, that seems good. Let's compile all the HQ stuff. And okay, create loop run every X hours, done. Okay, so now we need a new override timer setting. So let's see, HQ, let's look at our globals. Nope, globals here. Real-time override. We want that to be HQ automation real-time override. We want a new setting. Let's see where this is used. All right, it's set up in our options profiles and set up in our terminal. Okay, so let's put some notes here. All right, we need real-time override, add to options profiles, terminal. And okay, well, that's very interesting. Why is this not being read by anything but these? It's like it's not actually being used by any of the code. That's concerning. Let's see, where would that be? I think on HQ Manager. That's odd. I wonder if I accidentally created two of those. All right, let's do HQ Manager. All right, let's see what kind of globals we got in here. Operating costs, resource complexities. Okay, nothing there. So maybe under Action Manager. Nope, no versions on that, or no globals on this. What? How in the heck does this thing know to skip? Let's see if there's another. Let's see, timer. Let's see what other settings we have. Disable recruitment dialog timer length. Nope, that's not what we're looking for. I wonder if did I put it in chapter 2 by mistake? I guess that's possible. Oh, I wonder if I'm only loading it through the scripts. Like maybe if there's like a get global variable. That's possible. Yeah, that is definitely possible. All right, so let's look at the ID of that. Let's see, so that is 4B55B. Let's search our scripts for that. 4B55B. Bingo, there it is. Get HQ real-time override setting is under HQ action. So we're going to need another one of these. So get HQ automated. And this is, I need it to do post merge update me. And because I'm inevitably going to forget that, I'm going to do this. It'll drive me nuts. Debug.messagebox. Now I won't forget. Needs updated form ID. Boop. Just anger future me with 4,000 pop-ups the first time I try and run this. Actually, I need to resolve it pretty much immediately because otherwise I'm going to accidentally ship this for you guys in the code. So let's not compile that. Let's not compile that. I'll just add it over to my. I'll put it on my short-term notes for tomorrow. Tomorrow's to-do list. Doop. Yeah, because I know I'll accidentally ship that, and then you guys will get pummeled by settings. Okay, so let's find out where is this being used. Allow timer override. Start action. Start action doesn't actually allow timer override. Is that a setting on the action itself? I think it is. And currently start action has no idea if it's being automated or not. Yeah, that is a property on the action itself. Okay. So I think we need to add an automation check on start action. Because I think we have it on try start action already. Yeah, so we just need to add this field over to start action as well. And then we can make use of it. Actually, let me see if I have start function defined anywhere else before I start messing with it, before we start messing with signatures. This is one of the reasons that I have not yet released the source publicly for SS2. It's not necessarily that I don't want people to see it, because usually like when people are working on script mods for SS2, I'll send them source files. But there's always a warning of like these signatures are not locked in yet because we are still updating. All right, looks like only one other thing uses a signature, so nice and easy update to just add this in. But what we often do in our stuff where I know other people are making use of the code is I'll add, if I'm changing signatures, I will add a V2, V3, etc. So like, if you look into the workshop framework code, it's just loaded with like, there's some of them have like up to V7 definitions because the code's public, so I don't mess with the signatures. And eventually I'll get this to that. I was intending on doing the same thing for SS1 and it just hasn't happened yet. No one's shown any interest in it. Like nobody wants to mess with the SS1 code and I don't blame them. Okay. Parent start action. Okay, then we need to send this parent action this. And we can use automation run here to be like, all right, allow timer override. If, so we need to first do if, you should run do this, else, and then we would do, so if it's an automated run, we use a different setting here. Get HQ automated real-time over setting equals 2. Because if it's an automated run, we don't even want to check that one. We only want to check this one. There we go. And now recompile all of that. Unsat. I keep getting an error that says critical error is 2 data corrupted on your save. As much as possible is rebuilt, so you continue with the save. Do you know what that could cause this? Just your save is getting unstable. So it could be if you've uninstalled any mods recently, that would leave a lot of garbage data in your save file and it would cause a lot of problems. If your save file's kind of old or particularly large, that might happen. It's just basic data corruption is happening. SS2 is basically detecting that this data that, like, so we create these little objects. They're invisible objects in the world, and we just record a bunch of information on them that we need to keep track of. So like here, I'll show you an example that's a little more concrete. So if I go to settlement data, open this source up here. So like some stuff that we record that's useful to know about. Like if you ban any building plans at a settlement level, you're like, if you just decide, hey, I want this settlement to not use, any clean looking building plans, and you banned them there, it just keeps a copy of them inside of this container here. Or the settlement leader records who the settlement leader is, and any of their traits that are applied, it records them. So this little object here records all sorts of stuff about the mechanics on a settlement by settlement level. And what's happened when you get that error is that this one or more of these objects that we put in the world to record this information got corrupt and it lost all of the data. So we're capable of rebuilding, but we're basically giving you that warning to say like, hey, you may have been running into some weird behavior. Hopefully it's better now. If you're seeing it regularly, like if you just get it as a one-off, nothing to worry about. If you're getting it all the time, I would say your save is she's on her deathbed. Tarred and why am I getting tarred and feathered? What conversation did I miss? Hold on, now I got to read back through here. I just noticed 3 copies of Creation Engine running. Oh yeah, I have to have every chapter running. I often have 5 copies of Creation Kit running because I'll have Workshop Framework open in one, and then usually I'll have like the DLC loaded in one. That way I can go dig through files without accidentally parenting them to SS2. Like if I'm trying to learn how Bethesda did something in a DLC, or like in a Creation Club thing or something. But as well as you can't convince me Gath isn't a wizard. I look at the code you write down the road and wonder what insanity was built months later. Oh yeah, all the time. Looking at my old code, like it's a miracle that we're not on Sim Settlements version 28 by now. Because like Sim Settlements 2 was born of, I'd learned so much doing Workshop Framework that I like then looked back at my SS1 code and I'm like, this is trash. We can't keep building on this. We can't commit the next couple of years of designing out all these new systems and all these quests and then build them on top of this foundation. And now I'm starting to feel like that again. But luckily, SS2 has become so massive that now the idea of starting over on it is just like, nope, not doing it. If I do it, it's going to be in like Unreal or Unity. I'm not doing it again in Fallout. This is not happening. So am I being tarred and feathered for being a wizard? Is that what's going on here? talking about code quality. Yeah, my code's super mid. I know I'm not the best, but I also learn from when I see good patterns other people do, and try and incorporate them, improve my stuff. My superpower is persistence. I'm willing to work on the same project for 10 years and be happy about it the entire time. Like, absolutely ecstatic. Like, loading every day after the kids go to bed, I cannot wait to just plop down and see what kind of improvements I can make to Sim Settlements or Workshop Framework. Okay, let's get back to our list. That is not the right list. And yes, someone said, do I have multiple monitors? I do. I have 3, although I switched down to 2 because I was starting to get really bad like neck cramps from looking too much at a screen that was like just out of my field of view. So I switched it down to 2. I missed the 3rd because it was nice to have certain stuff, but I do have way less neck pain now. So I don't know if it was just like I had used 2 for a long time. My muscles got used to like that little rotation. Then when I added the 3rd rotation, it was too much. And if I had just like powered through for a couple months, I'd have been fine, but not worth it. Was it this sound? That sound? That's the sound I talked about earlier that I keep catching in my videos. That's my chair. My chair is starting to collapse on me. God, I hope from age and not from excessive eating. I haven't checked the scale in a while. I think I'm good. I think I'm doing pretty good though. Choo-choo 1. So your next restart will be for Starfield, right? God knows the game could use it. Starfield the Outpost system in Starfield needs some serious stuff. I'm really curious how much more, like, there's a lot of potential in there. Somebody did a video that I watched about Starfield. It was somebody like after playing it for a couple hundred hours, and like I had a good time with it, but I'm trying to figure out like what are the things everybody else was angry about, and like what's the path forward. And they talked about like one of the things they saw as a potential future for it was to like for Bethesda to go all in on the Outpost system and turn it into more of a Factorio, which is obviously very popular right now. Like you're seeing that that model, like with Palworld's basically got, it's a light version. It's obviously nothing as detailed as Satisfactory or Factorio, but that idea of like embracing the manufacturing chain gameplay that's really popular right now. What's the other game that just came out? The other survival crafting game that's voxel based. It's actually really cool looking. What the hell is the name of it? It just came out, and it just blew up. It probably came out a little bit, but I think it just came into early alpha within the last couple of weeks. It's pretty popular right now. But anyway, those two games are showing really popular in that frame, and that could work really well in Starfield of just like if they enhanced that system and fixed it up and put out a big DLC focused on it, and then turned it into like outposts to gather raw resources, and then you send the resources up to space stations to do manufacturing. I was like, that's actually a really awesome idea. That could be really fun. Oh yeah, that is my chair. And Shrouded, yes, thank you. Shrouded looks really cool. I Shrouded looked totally vanilla to me until I saw that it was voxel, and I saw people like leveling the ground. I was like, okay, that's cool. Like that's very cool because it looks like the graphics look fantastic. They don't look like modern Unreal games or anything, but like for a voxel game, you compare it to like the status quo voxel game is Minecraft, and it looks incredible compared to Minecraft. Like it looks like just like a reasonably modern video game. Like it's kind of got the, not World of Warcraft, but like a slightly more realistic version of like the like Fortnite aesthetic, to where it still looks pretty modern, but it's not like hyper realistic graphics or anything. But still, for that to be in voxel is really awesome. I have not played Palworld. I've watched people play it, and like once I saw that it was actually a factory simulator where it's almost like an RTS, like you're running around and gathering minions to your work. I was like, oh, this is kind of like what we're doing on Sim Settlements. You go play an RPG to gather settlers to go back to your town and make you stuff. It's kind of the same thing. Except theirs are adorable monsters and ours are irradiated people. Okay. Okay, so I basically got this override timer thing done, but I need to add it to the option profiles, terminal, and MCM. I started putting myself a note, and then I got distracted because I was trying to find out how to do the timer override. Okay, so the next thing I need to add, so I need the ability for them to turn off the automation for a particular department. So first off, do I have that in the code yet? Automation. So I guess technically I do by, you can get rid of all of the department plan queues. But I think I need like a heavier trigger to just be like, if the player, I don't want to make the player have to go in and like empty their queue. They should just be able to go in the option setting and just turn it off. Like it could both, like both could work, but they should just have a setting to turn it off. So I think then the most sense for that would be to, I should have one, let's see, we'll do, to do toggle settings. We'll do one global to rule them all. Turns off all automation. One global per department. Turn off for just that department. All right, so we're gonna need 8 globals here. And then how do we present these to the player? Because there'll be controllers on like a desk menu. Like it'll be like the HQ desk, you'll be able to go up to them, get like the, on that menu, there's already a department menu if you haven't seen it, where you can technically change the department head, even though that has no, that doesn't do anything. It's just there as a flavor thing. There'll just be another option there of like automation on off. And then I think that's where these go. All right, these are on desk menu. And then this one will be holotape / MCM. But also we need a way to make sure that if people go to the desk and they forgot they turned it off globally, that they're notified in some way. On desk menus, add, let's see, we'll do replace departments entry with a global toggle. So it'll look something like, oh yeah, I'll just do this. We'll put all this in a code block in case I forget to do the things when I'm compiling. All right, there we go. So example would be like if it's automation on, automation off, globally disabled. All right, activating this prompts player to re-enable global automation. If yes, then one of below options takes over based on departments global setting. But that also means we actually need a global, let's see, message controller for desk menu. That gets set when activating desk. Determines if we're going to put that above 3 options displays. Okay. All right. I think I'm going to do the rest of this off camera because I am it's coming up to my bedtime here, so I don't want to start coding right now. But I think we made some good progress. We've got a basic HQ thing sorted out. We solved the last like randomization thing I needed, which was the room configs. I'm sure there's other bits where we need to dynamically fill out some data, but that's why I want to get this into testers' hands, because they will much more quickly find it than I do when they're actually playing with just to see what's possible, as opposed to me who's trying to just test specific code bits. So let's see. Let me catch up with chat a little bit before we log off for the night. Process the game. Yeah, so they've been pretty open about their stealing. I think they're even using, aren't they? Isn't their CEO like big into AI generation too? So people think that a lot of their stuff, even the art they're doing, is AI generated. Jared Ames, just add a nuclear encapsulator to use the capture settlers in the wild, bring them back to labor for, work for you. Do I need to add the butcher feature too to make it complete? I mean, we already have the cannibalist perk built into the game. Granny Vats, I've started another FO4 playthrough and thought it would be a good idea to install Mutant Menagerie. Boy, is my game harder and scary. Oh my god, yeah, Mutant Menagerie is brutal. Brutal. What guys, does anybody remember my Conqueror playthrough? What was that? Was it Super Mutant Redux? Jesus, that one hard. They make the Super Mutants, just they're all massive butt kickers. It's crazy rough. Mr. Sandman, hello, how's it going? Palworld is pretty much Conqueror, but your captives love you after capture. And if Conqueror allows you to butcher, oh yep, you got the butcher thing. Yeah, if you get to butcher them for health. So anyway, you guys got a little taste there of what I'm trying to do with the automation. I think it's gonna make HQ night and day. I think it's just gonna be all of a sudden like all of the, oh, that's another thing that's on my list. I need to add that to my, it's been on my discussion list when we've had team meetings, but it never made it onto my Trello cards, is how to HQ rework. So I want to rework that, and Commonwealth Rising. I want to rework these quests to better integrate the player's options. So like when the player has certain stuff disabled, to just not show those objectives or insta-complete them. I think I do that already for the power. But I need to do it in more places of just like trying to like simplify those quests and get rid of all those pop-ups. Yeah, I think the how to HQ pop-ups count, I think it's like 27. It's ridiculous. So being able to eliminate a lot of those would help a lot with not making people feel like, oh God, what did I walk into? Why do I have to do all this? Oh, glad you're feeling better, Mr. Seaman. That's awesome. I do not. I had just gotten over a cold like a week ago. It might have been COVID even. I'm not sure, because somebody I know has it, and now I'm like, uh-oh. I hope I wasn't the giver, because I happened to be sick for a week, right around the timing where that would have lined up nicely. All right, guys, I think I'm going to call it for the night. This was a good session. I am excited to get this stuff out. If you guys want to listen to me ramble on some more on Friday morning, we're broadcasting a podcast I did with Elminster and Xera talking about Xedit, talk about the history of Xedit, how it gets used now, some of the stuff that Elminster has learned about Starfield. And he rants a little bit about that, about how he doesn't understand how Bethesda's going to support proper modding in it. So it's a pretty entertaining conversation. And then Saturday night, I'll be doing a podcast with Eleonora, Shoeburglar, Trainwiz, and J-Star, who does a Twitch channel around Fallout 76. So we'll be doing a lot of stuff for C3. My stuff's going to be the least interesting. You guys should watch everybody else's C3 stuff, because there's going to be a bunch of like people showing off monster mods for. There's quite a few for Fallout 4. Seemed like the majority were for Fallout 4, actually. There's some for Skyrim and some for older Fallout games, but it seemed like the majority of the showcases were going to be Fallout 4 stuff, which is pretty awesome. I'm very excited to see how much more London shows us, because they're supposed to be releasing in just under 3 months now. So, or let's see, all of February, all of March, yeah, and then most of April. They're launching at the end of April, so they should have a pretty sizable amount of content to show off. I think isn't it a 2-hour presentation, something like that? My first one is on the Chad76 Twitch, yeah, Canuck, and then the second one is on You Wastelanders. But I think they're doing a raid train, so if you like go to follow any of the stuff about C3 people are talking about, go into any Discord about it, or Twitter, anybody on Twitter talking about it, they'll probably link to whoever the latest person in the raid train. They're trying to basically like keep the audience jumping from Twitch channel to Twitch channel nonstop from like 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. both days. So it should be pretty cool.